Hello.
Hello, Zoltar. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad at all.
That's good. So, first thing to confirm real quick, are you going to be streaming your view over on your channel?
I will, yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. That's what I told people, but I said we'd check in with you just in case. So yeah, if you want an alternate view of what's going on, if I'm not doing a good enough job keeping track of things, make sure you've also got twitch.tv/King Morgan. That's King_Morgan, I guess.
That's
Hold
it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't see anybody switching over from you, to be honest.
Well, I like having both cameras, you know? Like, I always prefer having more cameras.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, in any game, somebody's going to miss something. No matter what game you're broadcasting, there's always going to be something that could have been caught on camera that wasn't. So I like having everything there.
Okay,
Myself.
good. I've got to turn you up. Thanks, Barry.
Yeah, my microphone's been a little bit difficult lately, I guess, the best way to put it. I've had to play around with a whole bunch of different settings since moving.
Oh,
Trying to get it reasonably functional again.
you sound fine to me. There we
Well,
go.
that's good.
It's just probably on the stream. Hopefully that should be better.
Yeah.
What? Why is that? Maybe I just put that up. I don't know. Who knows? That should be okay. Well, as long as I can hear you, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that is a good first step, probably. I think I've got all of our settings worked out because they keep getting reset on me. It's very sad. Very sad. And so I think that we're all set to keep going just as soon as our players are ready, assuming that you're going to be good to go.
Yeah, I'm ready. I looked at the settings; they all seem to be okay.
Yeah. I just have to check them each time because I keep swapping back and forth between versions of the game, and I get confused because I'm also swapping back and forth between streams, and it's just can't keep track of everything. It's awful.
How's the Monday stream going?
Oh, I think it's been going pretty well. We finished up the campaign that we were doing on Monday, I believe. So that was good. I actually got to win that one.
Oh,
Which
nice.
is the one with hope, right?
Well, yeah, you should hope so.
Oh man. But so we'll probably be back to doing multiplayer on Monday at this point. Now that we've knocked out a couple of campaign runs with the new DLC, so that should be fun.
Yeah, good. So I should try to tune in. I keep forgetting.
Well, you know, it's a newer stream. It's a newer stream. You get used to doing the Mohawk Game stream, and that's been running Thursday morning for a long time now.
Yeah, I keep
Took
forgetting.
a little bit of time to get used to that from the afternoon one, but hey.
Oh, is it in? Oh, right. What time is it now? I keep missing that as well.
Well, the Mohawk Games one is still in the morning, although it got pushed back just a little bit. Like, it starts a little later these days.
Was it 11 Eastern or something? 10 Eastern?
I think 11 Eastern now, I think is what it
Okay.
is. Yeah, if I remember correctly. Usually.
I should.
Although, sometimes it goes early. It depends on Soren's schedule for the most part. When I do it, it's 11 Eastern.
Yeah, when Soren decides he's going to be on, he'll be on, won't he?
Pretty much, yeah.
Ah, good. He's still working hard, is he?
Yeah, that's my understanding, is Soren's just always got an idea bouncing around in his head, so he needs to be off working on it somewhere, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I look forward to the next bit of DLC that's coming out, whenever that will be. It should be good.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'll be honest, I often have actually no idea what Soren is up to. I just get a message that says, "Hey, I'm busy for 3 weeks, can you do this?" I'm like, alright, sure. Yep. That's all I get. That's it. That's all I get. And sometimes, occasionally, it's like 6:30 in the morning, "Hey, I'm going to be busy today, can you do this?" And I'm like, and of course I don't wake up for another 2 hours after that sometimes, so it's like,
Oh dear.
just wake up, oh, yep, got a stream to do. Alright, we can do that.
Get the coffee on.
It's been a while since that happened, thankfully. I think that one was quite some time ago at this point.
Did you say you moved house as well?
Hell yeah, that was a month and a half ago now, I think. We got that done for the most part. We're actually completely moved in by now, because you know how the process goes, right? You spend a long time, get everything packed up, then you actually kind of technically have a move day,
Yeah.
but then all your stuff is just sitting around in boxes in the new apartment, so it's like, Well,
Yep, I know how that goes. Fortunately, haven't had to do it for a while, but maybe in the near future we'll be packing up and moving.
well, I'm sure that'll be just as exciting for you as it was for me.
I'm sure it
I
won't
guess.
be. Wife said we have to get professional movers this time. I'm not allowed to do it myself.
We got professional movers this time, and my wife has informed me that we are never not doing that again.
Yeah, that's it. That's the slippery slope, isn't it? Once you get them once, you never go back.
Yep, pretty much.
It's just annoying because I got loads of vans and everything, so I might as well get them to do it. But no. So there we
Oh
go.
man.
Got to keep the boss happy, though, haven't you?
Well, yeah, pretty much. That's how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, exactly how it works. Um, well, I'm ready whenever you are, Zulta.
I'm ready whenever as well, so I'll just probably let Dryad know, and we can go ahead and get started here.
Mm-hmm. Should be a good game. There's a lot of strong players
They
in
are
this.
sorting out subs for no shows.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask, tell you what, I'll throw a question at Noxie and see if we can get started.
All right, sounds good.
And,
Stop.
I understand them maybe not wanting to start certain ones, or maybe not wanting to start until we've got all the players sorted out for sure.
Yeah.
But I figured we'd check anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Just 'cause-
Noxie will give us a go, won't she? A few names here I don't recognise.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, obviously, Tubac and Philothanic, I'm just calling him Phil from now on. Tubac and Phil,
Mm-hmm.
I recognize, but Dryad and Macros, I do not. So,
New players, yeah.
kind of interested to see what happens. Like, I would ask you, what do you expect? But I think both of us would sit here going, well, I'm betting it's the people we know, but...
No, Hexapus. Hexapus is going to be first or second. And Philothantic.
Is,
Philothantic, Elmin, or Tubac. That's going to be... they're going to be top 5, or top 6. So those 4 players are going to be... I would imagine for the last game, which is going to be seeded, we'll be seeing Elmin, Phil, Hexapus, and probably Tubac, or maybe Jim Bob the Mighty. Certainly 4 out of those 5, I would definitely say. Maybe even Fox Blazing.
I know, I see Fox Blazing, and I'm like, we're looking at the seeds, and I'm like, but Fox Blazing is
He's good. He's alright.
good.
Yeah.
I know. I'm kind of looking at Fox Blazing, and like, I'd just love to see Fox Blazing pop in and take the whole thing. I have the go-ahead from Noxie at this point.
Okay. If everybody's ready, let's crack on.
Groups B and C are a bit messy right now, says Noxie, so we may end up waiting a little bit after this match, but of course we can always talk about the other 2 matches
Mm-hmm.
as they're finishing up. Okay, Dryad's readied up. I'm all good to go over here. Let's go ahead and get started.
Let's get Year-End and Blues. Black Magic and Terror doing the others' streams.
Yep.
Good. If I get time, I will review those on the VOD.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch those at some point. I usually try and catch up on stuff that other people did eventually, even if it's just while I've got Civilization running on the other screen, because I can like half focus on both of them.
Yeah, we should talk about that later on, I expect.
Worst moment. Okay, here we go. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 1 of our November new player tournament, or casual player tournament, as it were. We've got Macros, Dryad, Philothanic, and Tubac here competing, and of course, King Morgan joining us for the broadcast.
Hello Ziltar, hello viewers. It looks like quite a nice map. There's definitely a few good settling spots. Water may be tight. I mean, there's only one patch of water there, so I can imagine a bit of a fight over that. Glass colony as well, so I expect glass to shoot up in price shortly.
Okay, Expansive HQ goes ahead and drops. That's not really what I would have expected immediately this game, if I'm being honest, because I was seeing the same things you were, I think. You've got that water patch up in the north, if somebody just decided to land on all that high water as a scientist, I would just sit there laughing. Honestly. Can you imagine? Like, you just land right literally in the middle of all of it. And then you just immediately claim, like, the medium tile, drop some farms there, and just laugh your way through the rest of the game. Would have been hilarious to me, but nobody does that.
Well, food. I mean, you're going to 3 food, and that would be a really viable start. I mean, there's no massively high prices. It would be.
There are no massively high prices.
No.
I mean, Silicon was the only thing that started high at all. And Silicon's only 40. There's a little pressure in that direction from the warehouses, but glass started at 42, so...
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Philo's gone in there, isn't he? As a scientist, he's taken our advice.
I like it. Not exactly what I would have done, but pretty close. Pretty close. And so, I definitely like it indeed. Let's hope he has time to go ahead and get a bunch of those claimed up, can manage to expand onto a lot of that water, because that could be really interesting moving forward this game. And I think that this found is going to drive a significant amount of what happens this game.
Have you seen Tubak's claim? He seems to have got mixed up.
Yeah, he seems to be in a bit of an interesting position.
I think maybe there's a misclick there.
That might have been a misclick. That's... Out of all the misclicks we ever see, this has to be like the most common and the most devastating, right? Where you drop in order in a scavenger location, but you just happen to click that robotic button.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard work coming back from that, I would say. Although he's gonna be punished by this early high steel price. I mean, I'm quite surprised that Scavenger didn't take the twin tiles, the god tiles. I mean, that would have been quite a nice location where macros are settled. Although, as a robot, it's viable as well. So.
Yeah, I think he'll be just fine as a robot there. I mean, look at this aluminum price. It's so nice him not having to expand into too much of that aluminum. I am a little surprised, actually, that we saw the medium iron tile rather than just the pair of aluminum irons. But it can still work out. Still moving through the upgrades pretty quickly. Even with that freeze, he's going to get these wind turbines down, and Macros is looking to be in a pretty decent spot at the start of this game.
Oh, definitely, especially taking that claim second. I mean, he's good position, as you say. I like it. But water, I think, is going to be quite crucial. If people can't get their water, then it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all.
A little concerned about Philothenic over here. This is something that I almost never can get on board with, and it's what we're seeing here. It kind of runs counter to what I would have liked to see Phil do this game. Taking the double aluminum tiles, I would have been really tempted, if I'm being honest, to skip aluminum entirely this game. Just say, nope, not doing it. I want this water.
Yeah.
And to take 2 aluminum, though. 2 aluminum. As a scientist, I'm really concerned about that play. In the short term, it might help out, but as the game goes on and on and on, you're really going to be feeling the hurt of losing one of your claims just for that short-term gain.
Yeah, I mean, there's no extra claims at all. I mean, you can't even do an auction on a claim, so he's struggling. I mean, even as an expansive, taking 2 aluminium is really questionable. Really questionable. But there's no maybe can transfer to a wind turbine or a couple of solar panels, perhaps. We'll have to see, but early doors, that's a real waste of a claim.
Yeah. Alright, underground nuke lands onto, interestingly enough, Macros Silicon. And that was out of Dryad, so Dryad kind of making an early move saying, I've picked a market that I want glass. Dryad's already expanding into those glass kilns, just wants to keep everybody else away from this silicon. It's an understandable decision given all the warehouses that we saw at the start of the game, but I'm wondering if it's going to pay off enough to make it worth these early black market triggers.
I think it will. You've got to go into, I mean, price of glass, you've got to really be producing glass at that price. You can't realistically be buying it because food is going to be saturated by the scientist. O2 and fuel aren't going. I mean, fuel will steadily spike, what with everybody shipping. But there are 2. Well, no, there's 1 robot. No, there are 2 robots. So fuel. Yeah, I can see why he did it. It's a good move.
I can understand moving the glass. I'm just a little concerned about trying to control the silicon market this early in the game, especially when there's just so much silicon on the board. Right. That's my other concern. Literally everybody has a finger in that pie at this point, so trying to get control of it just might prove a little too difficult moving forward.
Yeah, but he's got enough silicon to meet his needs, so as long as he sticks with 2, he'll be happy with the glass, I think. He said his...
I'm really curious who's going to be able to pivot into this first. Got a really big boon potentially for someone like Philothenic here, who has gone into a single glass kiln, which is very, very unfortunate at this stage of the game, as fuel has just rocketed up to an extremely valuable price of $123.
Yeah, I think he should have gone into the extra reactor. Triangular reactors would have been much better.
Yeah, I would have liked to see that for sure, instead of trying to get this glass up and running against his opponent. Even though there are warehouses on the board with 2 robots, there's just not, and of course farms in the dumpster at this point, there's just not a lot of need for glass outside of these warehouses, so 2 people producing it could kill that off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, power's gone, everybody's got into power. Expansive player Dryad's got his geothermal, sadly been stolen away from him, but these 3 wind turbines of macros are they're going to absolutely kill the price of power.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically dead at this point. We've got a little more steel coming up, which will consume a little bit, but when you're down at $19 and a whole bunch of wind turbines on the board, it's just...
Well, it works out for Philothantic, without a doubt. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. But if he plays it right, oh no. 2-pack said, no, I'm over those 2 waters. And he's taken the 3rd claim. Obviously, 2-pack's anticipating going into a patent lab.
Already got the well, 2-pack didn't have the patent lab down. Macros did earlier.
It's a lot of pressure, though. He's forced himself into going for slant drilling there.
Carbon scrubbing. Did he, though? I mean, he needs to get resources there somehow. Do you need slant drilling, or can you potentially just take something like teleportation and kind of expand out to having this as a water production area? On the other hand, you're dropping the water pumps there. Those are going to feed the electrolysis reactor just fine. You've got to get those resources back. I'm kind of wondering if teleportation would be the better call than something like slant drilling at this point.
It's a single reactor now. I mean,
For now, he's got another upgrade left.
Yeah, I suppose he could potentially go into teleportation. I don't like doing
Those
that
adjacency
personally.
bonuses aren't to be scoffed at.
The patent lab is constructed.
He
We'll
could
have to
go.
see.
Get our science on.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Everybody's cruising along quite nicely.
Yeah, nobody seriously, ridiculously far in lead, although I have to give it to Macros for the time being. I mean, he spotted the dual tiles there, the aluminum and iron, that are both available. He's headed into this patent lab with carbon scrubbing. People have an eye on it, they know what's going on, but nobody's really moving to stop it just yet.
No, there he is. He's got his HQ5 upgrades quite safely. I mean, nobody's in a position to buy him, do a majority buy on him. Power's going. Oh, he's going to have to move back into power at some point.
Well, 2-back wanted that teleportation, but he is not going to get it. Philothenic going to clean that up in about 3 seconds here. I don't know what 2-back's going to do with these tiles after that.
Not very much, I wouldn't have thought.
Still might like to see slant drilling come out here. I mean, 3 low water tiles isn't great, but it is something on a map with such difficult water available. Everybody's having to commit a lot of claims. Nobody's really happy about it, so...
No, slant drilling would definitely benefit 2-back, I think. Oh, well, and Philothantic, of course.
Well, everybody hopped out of power as fast as they could when that crashed, and we all know what happens in that situation.
What goes up must come down. I mean, off-worlds are looking really nice for O2. I'd be very keen to get an off-world down as soon as possible, because I don't think that on-worlds there's going to be no demand for life support resources.
It's just such a sad power surge. I hate that feeling. Who used that power surge? I feel bad for them now. Macros uses the power surge on 2-back on an elemental quarry, an entirely reasonable decision in the corner there, right? Just happens to bounce, so it doesn't land on that patent lab. Just an unfortunate situation for Macros. 2-back currently after nanotechnology.
2-back. Is he going for nanotech, is he? Oh yeah, and he gets it.
Up. Yep. Got it picked up pretty easily there. I like the decision. I definitely like the nanotech decision over here, because he put himself into a very difficult situation of not being guaranteed his ability to make steel. He has to rely on the market and how it handles iron in order to be able to make steel. And so if he can kind of remove that transition factor of steel, if he can just keep swapping his buildings as necessary, then he can help soften some of that blow from the beginning of the game.
Yeah. He's going into 3 wind turbines over in his aluminium patch, which, given the price of power, is okay, but I don't know if he's going to make any money. Price of power is coming down rapidly.
Yeah, Macros is trying to work real hard at that power price right now, I do believe. Has picked up superconductor, 3 solar panels down with high elevation on those, so they're pulling in quite a lot of power. And Macros, he's not quite getting cash off that, but his debt's stinking away real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing well. He was making $500 a second off each of those panels, which is very nice. A little bit less now, because he's going to crash power out again, which will force Philothantic to rotate out.
We have a hard to come by
But
land claim.
given that Phil's got teleportation, I mean, it's not going to be a massive issue. Steel is just... Why has Steel died so much?
Well, everybody was cranking out steel real hard. I mean, Tubac was cranking out a ridiculous amount of steel. Philothanic hasn't upgraded just yet. We had 5 tiles committed to steel from Dryad over there, 4 from Macros. Just everybody clawing their way into that market as fast as they could. I'm sure Tubac's going to be happy about it, because now he can set up fairly cheap buildings that aren't steel producers. And then once steel gets high again, he'll still be able to transition. Everybody else is going to have to be concerned about this steel price. So just have to see what happens moving forward.
Yeah. A couple of players have got upgrade labs out, which is nice. So chemicals are going to be looking pretty promising if anybody can move into chems. Which nobody seems to. Electronics from Tubac and some steel. Tubac nukes out. Oh, has his. Oh dear. Carbon nuked.
Trying to console some of that carbon.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I believe carbon scrubbing's already gone the way of Macros this game, along with perpetual motion and superconductor. Also headed into thinking machines just now, so really working that patent lab. Gonna beat Tubac there once again, I do believe. Yep. It's gonna be sad for Tubac.
Yeah. I mean, as a scientist, you never want to be beaten, do you? Not to patents. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, Philothanic and Tubac both really struggling to pick up those patents this game, it seems. Because well, when you've got the money to pay for them, that's going to be the big deal here, right? Chems was starting to get expensive, just Macros is the only one who could continue to invest in that building, which is just so important as we get to these later phases of the game.
Yeah, Macros is still very firmly in the lead, isn't he? His off-world market's going up. It's going to make some good money.
Scientific HQ has been upgraded.
Nearly 50k a launch, which is nice. And he's moved into chems. He's in a dominant, well, he's in a semi-dominant position.
Yeah, with the market going up, though, we got to talk a little bit more about the black market. There's a lot of it we've been ignoring this game. In particular, we've got network virus, circuit overload, and mutinies all available. So this market is a little on the vulnerable side to getting taken over by Macro's opponents.
Possibly, but I mean, the only thing you've got there is mutinies and power surges, really.
But
Goons.
easy ways to blast through the goon squads is what I'm also concerned about. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the only
Goon
thing...
squad's already up at 50k apiece. I mean, Macro's got 1 stored away, but you can't keep that up forever.
No, that's true, but as long as he keeps a mutiny, if he buys a mutiny, he keeps it there so he can take it back if it does get mutinied. He's probably sitting pretty.
Yeah.
I would be
We'll
too
just have to
worried.
see how it goes. Tubac wasn't really showing any interest in going after the off-world anyway, instead targeting the optimization center, just setting sights a little low, perhaps, when it comes to this black market usage.
Yep. Almost everybody except Philothantic's got their off-world markets.
We caught a dirty rat trying to break our staff optimization
Yeah,
routine
Philothanic just running behind once again. This is really almost the concern that I had. Yeah, we've expanded into 3 aluminum tiles. I imagine these are going to be used to make electronics at this point in the game. Yeah, electronics factories flying over now. But those are still having to go through the air. Magnetic storms are available. Did Philothanic get teleportation? Yeah, okay.
He
So we're
did.
going to be okay on that front.
Yeah.
But still kind of hurts to have to use these tiles over here and way away from your base when you could have just tried to have a monopoly on a market that has ended up not having the significant amount of impact that it could have this game.
Yeah, he needed to lock all of those water tiles up, really. Letting somebody take a medium, especially, I think was a bad move.
Yeah, there was no reason to allow that sort of thing this game. Even after the found, you immediately could have just grabbed up the high and the medium, left everything else at the low. And I absolutely agree with you there. Just no reason to leave that available.
It's a good move, but not executed to the fullest, perhaps.
Exactly, and that's the concern, is when you make even a good move, if it's kind of a strange move, if it's a difficult move, one of the key factors in that is doing it correctly.
Yeah.
You have to block off everything you possibly can, and I think the combination of maybe not taking the right tiles at the start and expanding into that aluminum rather than committing to the water play just caused issues.
Yeah, that second aluminium. Yeah.
Alright. Oxygen launching from our players at this point going to drive that price a little insane. I imagine we will be seeing plenty of electrolysis reactors to try and counter it, which always makes the market particularly interesting. To back up to 2 off-worlds at this point, I do believe he stole one of those away. Yes. Mutiny of lands right onto this off-world of macros.
Yeah, Macros has got his second one coming up, so he won't be overly bothered, I wouldn't have thought. And he's got thinking machines as well, so that's going to mitigate the length of time it's mutinied for.
Absolutely. Thinking machine's definitely a huge deal at this phase of the game. Now, you definitely want to be using those mutinies against your opponent's off-world as a thinking machine's player, stealing it for 2 minutes rather than your own back for 1. But
whether we'll see that or
we'll just have to
not.
see how Macros handles it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Philothantic like get his. Well, his food's doing all right, but he could get a couple of water pumps down. That would be a little bit more profitable. But I'm surprised that Macros hasn't gone into dry ice, because he is well placed on the dry ice there. He could have 3 dry ice. Carbon's a good price. Oxygen's a obscene price.
It's true, a lot of players not really considering, I would think, the fact that it's dry ice this game and provides oxygen. It doesn't come up all that often, quite frankly, how much oxygen you can pull in from dry ice, but it's a lot, guys. You can get a lot of oxygen from that building. Definitely something to consider in a game state like this one. Man, Tubak's doing well. These mutinies, these electronics. Electronics really paying out dividends for him. I imagine Nanotech's been doing work too, as it's allowed him to make these transitions. That combined with this insane power price that Macros has allowed by continuing to transition rather than just leaving power in kind of a deflated state, really causing problems.
Yeah. He could do. He needs to get them running. Yeah, he needs to get dry ice up and running. I mean, oxygen. Well, I don't know. Even if that kept for me 50,000 a launch is a fantastic price. So the
yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Nobody's going to be shying away from that oxygen launch anytime soon. On top of that, I mean, chems are a great launch too. Is something you've got to be watching out for. So I really wouldn't mind seeing something like the chem refineries, the dry ice, let everybody else sit on their reactors, keep that fuel price nice and low for you, and just fly on through the rest of the game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Chemicals would be a great second launch. I mean, with the price of things, I would definitely move my reactors, definitely move these reactors into dry ice. That would be far more profitable than trying to. I mean, fuel is just pointless. It's down less than $10.
That's what always happens when you've got that oxygen launch. You can count on it, absolutely. It's just people will kill fuel.
Yeah, it'll be rubbish. So yeah, cheap chems, producing cheap chems there will be a good move. Doesn't need these reactors. The price of power and everything. I mean, they're using. It doesn't say how much electricity they're using. Oh, there we go, $34 a piece. So it's nearly $100 just for the electricity. Which, that's power price like that.
Pretty ridiculous.
It is, yeah.
This is another big mistake out of Macros this game that I just feel the need to point out, is both off-worlds are attached to the same pod of buildings, so they can both be attacked at the same time. by
Yeah.
something like Power Surge. And even with Thinking Machines, that's just the kind of thing you can't allow to have happen to you. It's
No.
just not acceptable.
It's not. You need to plan your building placement a little bit better,
Off-road shipment launched.
just to mitigate that.
Time to improve.
Other big things we've seen going on in this game, I harped on it with Aluminum earlier, with Philithanic. Philithanic's been trying to work with it. We can see it hasn't really panned out this game. Philithanic's now at risk of being knocked out of this game by Dryad, while our two, super giants of Macros and Tubac are still going at it. Dryad and Philithanic have been having their own little fight in the background, in my opinion. But that said, Dryad has 2 Silicon. Macros has 2 Silicon. In a game without extra claims, you have to be so careful getting so heavily into these primary resources. We can see Dryad sitting on 750 Silicon in the bank right now. Macros has 1,600.
Oh, it's
It's just
a waste of claims. Your
it
claims
is a waste.
they could be far more profitable than that. I think the winner here is going to be probably Tubac. If Tubac can buy Macros, then he's going to be really well placed to clean up.
Successful off-road shipment.
Probably the winner of Dryad and Philothantic.
This is such an interesting situation right now. Tubac managed to get a hold of the off-world once again from Macros. I'm going to have to review Black Market later on in this game, because this could just be determined by launch timings very, very easily at this point. Tubac sitting on about 500,000, needs about 50,000 more to clean up Macros. Macros on 529, needs about 30,000 more to clean up Tubac. But Tubac, he has enough. Is he
Yeah.
going to cancel out of what he's doing and make that buy? Or is he going to put himself at risk of Macros finishing up one more launch?
Well, he
Oh,
could.
Macros canceled the launch.
Oh, there.
It's just operating on 1 right now.
Oh, that's a bit of a mistake, I think.
Is it? He's going to need that cash on hand. Okay, Macros.
Wow.
Get it.
Nice.
Did he sell? Did he sell out of his own stock? Did he just do that?
I think he did.
I think he did. On the other hand, why not? Your opponent already has the money in the bank. All that you're counting on at that point is him not paying attention. If he's not going to pay attention to the fact that he can buy you, then there's no risk. There's no risk of selling out.
Oh,
Because it's still just the same thing protecting you, his own inattentiveness. Why not? That's hilarious.
New claim
Thank you,
is available
Macros.
for
Thank you for
auction.
that today.
that's potentially a game-winning move.
I think that's absolutely a game-winning move. I think we're done here. That's it.
I think so.
It's over. I could pretend. I could pretend over here, but let's be honest. 2 players were in the lead. One of them's not anymore.
Wow. I will have to check, but that's a fantastic move. Absolutely fantastic.
Successful off-road shipment.
That was.
Make room for the
That makes
profits.
me happy. Cancel your launches, people. Come on. That's what this comes down to, right? Like, there are a lot of times when I've got enough to buy somebody and I'm kind of in the lead, but I don't cancel the launch because I'm like, I'm still gonna need to kill some more people afterward.
Well,
When somebody can buy you is not one of those times.
no.
Not one of those times. Absolutely.
No, the share. You got to play the share game correctly, otherwise, well, the stock game probably better. But he needs to buy his share back. Why isn't he buying his share back?
Does he? Does he care? He probably should. But I mean, I would personally. I would, because you're sitting there. You're just playing a long game at this point, right? You've got plenty of patents. You got plenty of claims. You got your subsidiary running. You got double off-world. Your optimization center's been operating for a while now, which we haven't really focused on this game because there's been so much going on. But Macro's got decent optimizations running. You can definitely work with them for the rest of the game. So just buy the share. Just buy the share. Just drive the game a little longer. Guarantee your win that way.
Yeah.
Philithanic picks up Dryad, something we weren't really paying a whole lot of attention to, but it doesn't really surprise me. Mostly because of what we talked about way early this game, where water suddenly became an issue, right? Water prices got high. Dryad was relying on water in order to use these electrolysis reactors to use these farms. Philithanic had all the water that he needed.
Yeah, and I think Dryad was in a little bit more debt than Philothantic.
Yeah, they were both in a ridiculous amount of debt, though. I mean, Philithanic's operating $300,000 in debt right now, so I'm going to be grateful for that, because it means we're going to clean this game up just a little bit faster. We can head quicker over on into game number 2.
Make room
Yeah.
for the profits.
I mean, this is the time where Macro can actually start selling his shares.
Oh yeah, easily. Whatever. Just clean it up, you know?
Yep, get it done. Get a good time just in case we do need a tiebreaker. He's Philothanic's moving into greenhouse.
Off-road
Why is he moving into farms?
money.
Farms are $50 a piece.
Our methods
I can't
continue
answer that
to
question.
improve.
I will say that he's got advanced food technology, so maybe his farms are still okay, but I mean, when you're making that much food, you're gonna kill that price real fast. Hey, Silicon got good.
Wow.
I mean, Macros is already sold out of all that silicon, so that giant silicon stockpile evaporated when silicon was $1 in order to push to that 2-back fly. So it still made absolutely no difference in this game to have that giant stockpile. But at least he'll be making okay money now.
Yeah. I think it's going to depend.
Launch
Well, it's not going to
services.
depend on
What a
anything.
payout.
These guys have been making so much electronics, it's just driven all the prices insane all of a sudden.
It has. But Philithantic there, he's going back to aluminium mines, taking his power out.
This unprofitable, perfect electronics factory production, just throwing it out there.
And the electronics are in the toilet, sadly. Just no
Like, I could
demand.
whine about details at this point. Like, you should have the aluminum iron line down. You should have the
Successful
other iron line down,
off-road
too.
shipment.
But when you've got the buy on your
Make room
front,
for the profits.
When you got the buy, you got the buy.
exactly. Well, I'm gonna clean that one up. Game 1 done and dusted. What are we going to... I want to look through. I want to see Black Market. That's what I want to do. I want to look at Black Market this game. Because 2-back, I think the only reason 2-back was in it was because of Black Market. He and Macros really going at it hard, though.
Mm-hmm. Both of them 6. Yeah, they were hit 6 times each, so not too bad. And black markets. Harshest rival. Yep, the 2 leaders. Although Macros spread it around a bit, didn't he, to Dryad and 2-back?
Yeah, Macros tried to make it happen. 2-back, I think a lot of that might have come after the fact. I know that there was a lot of targeting on, in particular, Dryad's Offworld, which I would consider a definite mistake, because when that started, spies were 14,000. Dryad's Offworld was defended, and 2-back's was not. And so if you just take the hit, pay the 34,000 you're going to have to on spies to check it out, find the Offworld that isn't protected, and start guaranteeing those mutiny hits, you're going to be in a much better position. So that was a little bit of a misstep from Macros, but he still managed to power on through it, just with such a fast start that he got off to this game.
Just makes me sad that nobody bought a network virus.
Yeah, they were throwing circuit overloads around instead of network virus. That really surprised me, actually.
I saw a couple of network circuit overloads. They went onto the power, which were good moves, but like you say, a couple did go onto off-world markets, whereas network virus would have been far cheaper.
Yeah, far more effective too, I think. And especially, there were times that game when we saw buildings like the electrolysis reactor becoming very, very weak because power was starting to spike very high, oxygen was still great, but fuel wasn't. And so maybe if we had seen some network viruses get flowing at that moment, right, stop the transitions, stop people from being able to compensate for maybe not predicting the market force correctly, we could have seen a different outcome here.
Well, Philithantic bought 0 nukes, which is ridiculous. When you're the only scientist and water is as tight as it was, if you can't control those water tiles, nuke them. It would have been
Absolutely.
a completely different game, especially as oxygen and food were really good launches.
Yeah, oxygen especially.
Yeah, oxygen was a fantastic launch. But if you could have, especially if carbon scrubbing got locked up, nobody had any carbon, there were no scavengers, nuke every single water tile you could find. Would have been possibly a different game.
Yeah, I would love to see a lot more nukes out of our scientists, but I think a lot of that, in some ways, comes down to the really difficult mid-game that Philithantic had going on there.
Yeah.
Just not enough money left over to really get involved in the black market until it got to the very, very late stage of the game, right? And we can see that just in how much was spent in the black market. Philithantic spent more on power surges than anybody else's game. Philithantic spent more on mutinies than anybody else's game. And that is not the way you need that to be to win this game.
No, you're absolutely right there. Right, here we go. Let's quickly look at the balance sheets. Well, Macros obviously made his money from off-worlds. He did well.
A lot of it, yeah. A lot of it on World 2, though. I mean, the optimization centers were no slouches this game. That's for sure.
That's good to see. It was definitely a game that needed to have optimization centers. Almost everybody getting at least 2 into O2, which obviously being the launch. Only a couple of people in chemicals, though.
Yeah. Still big mistake out of everybody not watching Dry Ice this game. It would have been an extremely high-level game, play this game in particular, to know there was Dry Ice and note before you found that the oxygen launch was more expensive than all the others. That could have been a potentially game-winning move by anybody this game. We do have our casual player tournament today, of course, so we're talking extremely high level, but that is the kind of thing you can watch out for and potentially use to win these games.
Yeah, you've got to take your edge wherever you can find it. And Tubac and Philo, well, both experienced players. They might be playing a casual tournament, but they've been around a fair time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true.
A note to take forward, I think.
Just things to watch out for. We did see a little Dry Ice from Dryad in particular, so it was a nice spot, right? But too little too late, unfortunately. It looked more like a bit of convenience toward the end rather than a plan from the beginning.
Yeah. I think his spot, I'm not sure why he took that spot as an expansive. I'd have preferred
That's
to...
the big question, right? It was the first found of the game, too.
He certainly was. It would have been more efficient, better, I think, to have taken near macro spot. I'd have definitely had my... Well, and with the nukes as well, though, it's... Yeah, you could easily get nuked out. Which I'm surprised more people didn't get nuked. There are very few nukes being thrown around.
Well, Dryad bought all of our nukes this game, bought 4 of them. One of them went on Silicon. I think more went on Carbon in particular, which was kind of understandable that some went on Carbon in particular. But I mean, that said,
yeah,
it just wasn't going to be enough. I think 2 more. Yeah, 1 on Carbon, 2 on water, I think is what we had. So Silicon, Carbon, and then double water is what we saw from the nukes that game. And an attempt to control the water market, I just think, was not going to work out.
No.
Against a scientist like this.
No, if you've got a scientist, you're going to struggle to control the water.
And I still say I would have played Philip Fennec's position and just played it a little different.
Yeah.
Or as the scientist, right? Thing was, what you could have done also was just stomp like all of the really valuable water tiles, except maybe 1. Keep that one to yourself. Keep maybe the high water to yourself. Make sure to cover up all the stuff that's adjacent to it so nobody else can slant drill it, right? So you can kind of position it into that little... what's a good word? Into this little divot in the scientific HQ. Then just surround it with your own tiles. And then you've got the sole high water. You have the sole ability to slant drill it. And then you just move forward there from the game. It would have been really interesting.
Yes, that would have been a very high level play. I'd have loved to see that.
I would have loved to do that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but
That's
it's easy to armchair commentate, isn't it? When you're actually up against it, it's slightly
different.
harder.
It's different. And everybody can just go watch my other streams to see the truth of that.
Yeah, you're not alone.
I swear, did they move the join and create buttons on me at some point? Are they much bigger now? I swear these buttons were in different places before.
I don't know. I still
I'm
think
gonna
the
go
colour
check.
scheme is yuck.
I'm gonna go check on that because I swear every single time I pop out of a lobby, my hand does something on its own to go to a new one, and it's always the wrong button.
Mm-hmm.
And so I swear they moved them. I've got another lobby up at this point, by the way. So, because I figure we can sit here and dither on for an hour about a game if we really want to.
Oh, easily. Very easily.
So I need to eventually find a cutoff point where I stop doing that.
We can gossip on for hours. Let's have a look. Who have we got? We should have in our group Tubac, Lady Volk, Kenan, and Elmin. Kenan JK, I'm going to call him. Actually, I'm going to call him Ken.
Yeah. Oh, Ken.
Ken. El Capitan. Nope, out. WQ. We're waiting for Lady Volk, who Ken, yeah, you're Ken. That's easy.
Ken. Yes. Ken. I do want to point out, by the way, just for both of our sake, that Fox Blazing in his round took the first game in 7 Soul 7, just into Soul 7. So that wasn't just taking the game. I was walking up and just smacking down everybody else.
That's
Just
yeah.
one time.
That's an absolute wipe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's going to be a good game to watch. I'd be interested to see what goes on in that game. That is a very, very good time. Especially with Hexapus in there as well. And Jim
Yeah.
Bob. I mean, Jim Bob he beat me the other day.
Exactly. Jim Bomb's quite a known quantity in a lot of ways, so I want to go see what happens in that game at some point.
Yeah.
For now, if you guys want to see Fox Blazing's next game in particular, we're talking about right now, Blues is streaming and Year End is streaming. Both of them are commentating that. So make sure to turn into one of those two channels, or both of them, if you want to see what's going to be going on over there. Of course, always feel free to hang out here with us as well.
Yeah, we got Black Magic and Terra Incognita doing the other stream. Black Magic is a very thorough commentator. I always like listening and watching Black Magic when he plays and streams.
Absolutely. I enjoy, I'll be honest, I just enjoy when anybody else is streaming, because I feel like it's an excuse that I don't have to do it
Yeah.
all the time. I like doing it, I just don't like doing it all the time. It's really, it's such a relief to be able to sit back and just not do it for a week, and have to let somebody else do it,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be honest.
Yep, I agree with you there. I've quite enjoyed my little break from streaming and playing as well. I'll be
That
playing.
said, it's been a while, so I'm glad to be back here this weekend.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a change. I've been playing a lot of Ark recently. Dominating the server.
Oh, a lot of Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not a particular genre of game that I have almost any experience with whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like Minecraft with dinosaurs.
It's like Minecraft with dinosaurs. You know, they probably just should have said that in their advertising.
I think as soon as people see dinosaurs, they get very excited and they'll throw their money at it. And there's even dragons. I mean, technically they're wyverns, but they're really dragons.
They're still dragons. I know that's what
Yeah, everybody loves riding into battle on a dragon. Especially a big
Obviously.
fire, big breathing dragon.
Oh man. So we are just waiting on Lady Volk, still, I do believe.
Yes.
Just to remind people of why we're sitting around still, dithering. Rather than getting on with round 2, as I'm sure some people would prefer.
I think we're filling, aren't we? Let's see. How many people are watching your stream?
A few.
26.
Whatever.
27 now.
I'll be honest, I
Never
don't
look.
generally watch that number much.
No. Hurry up with round 2. Did you show the time?
I did show the time, that's all good.
No, well done.
Oh man. So Lady Volk, that's not somebody that I'm familiar with. I'm kind of curious. We've got this whole, we've got all kinds of information in the metaverse and stuff for Offworld, so I should probably take the time to look people up, but I don't know. But that sounds like a job for somebody who's
I suppose.
proactive.
Yeah. I suppose we could do that, couldn't we?
Give it a shot at least.
Oh,
Figure it out.
it's the Off-World Trading Company website sort. They've had a little polish up.
Yes.
Very nice.
Probably for the best. I mean,
It was quite basic, wasn't it?
it was. A little bit, which is good.
I should have to remember my username and password at some point. Not today, though.
And now you're making me want to check on stuff. It's not stuff that I should check on right now. Because I'm not going to be allowed to talk about it on stream.
Yes.
I'm just not going
Probably
to.
best
Just
not.
going to restrain. I'm going to restrain. Few hundred... Now I'm trying to read through chat. I'm so bad at this. I try and get better at this, and then I just end up giving up literally every single time. Just because I can't keep up with the chat and watch the game at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard work. Lady Volk. That's one loss.
Oh man.
Yes, a relatively new player.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too about Lady Volk. I checked on it. We've got a couple of games. They didn't go all that well, but that's okay. I lose probably more games than most people, so
Yeah, same here.
see, I like to blame that. This is what I like to do. I like to only play in lobbies, so there's really not a whole lot of proof of my record. And then I like to play against, because every time I stream, you get blues and you get DT and you get U and you get Game Slayer and you get PB, right, all the way through. And so I just blame my loss record on that fact and just make the excuse that I play.
Well, it's very hard to stream and play at the same time.
That's fair. I still maintain that I've had enough practice at it at this point that I can't use that as an excuse alone, right?
Any excuse I can find, I use. I'm not shy.
That's fair.
Because I do need a lot of excuses, especially playing against people like DT Blues, etc., etc. And yourself, of course. You're always a hard person to beat.
We can pretend that's true.
Oh, it is true.
So I'm now taking the opportunity. I should check back and just make sure. Okay, yeah. We're not getting started just yet. I'm taking the opportunity to go through and look on all the information we have here. And I find it really interesting that if I go to the overall statistics on win-loss for all of the different colony types, right? Expansive has a really big lead for when you've got everything included. But then I tune it down to ranked in particular. If you look at ranked, suddenly Scavenger ends up blowing everything else out of the water. I mean, it's not even close. For both 1v1 and for 4-player.
Well, Scavenger is one of the best colony types, really. By a long, long way. Because it's just so fast.
So fast. And you're exactly right? Because we can talk about black market, and we can talk about other things, but let's be honest. What it comes down to with Scavenger, in my opinion, these days, especially ever since random prices hit the board, HQ level 1, carbon, aluminum, done. And that's like all you ever have to do, right? That doesn't vary ever.
No.
No matter what, as a scavenger. Like, ever. Every single time. That's okay. HQ level 2, start making money. Done. Meanwhile, every HQ level 2, everybody else is like, I've got to shore up this steel production. Try and make it through. Ah, Lady Volk's here. Excellent. In my defense, the lobby name did not help. That's fair. Lady Volk's not used to this. I should actually adjust the lobby name, perhaps, occasionally. Hey, look, I got used. I'm gonna blame Soren for this one. Here's my excuse.
Oh, you
For
could.
a while,
Yeah.
I couldn't edit lobby names. I could, but they wouldn't appear. They wouldn't work. So I just got lazy and stopped doing it. And now I use that as an excuse forever.
It's a fair excuse. Oh, how rude.
You good to go for this one?
I am, yeah. I was just going to get a beer, but...
Too late.
It's
Oh,
never
I
too
meant to
late. Never too late, Sultan. Never too late.
Okay. Any prediction for this one as we head into it real fast?
Remind myself who's in it. Well, Elmin and Tubak, I think, are going to be up there, definitely. Although there may be a surprise, we'll have to wait and see.
I'm going to give it to Tubak. I think that was a genuine misbound that he had, and then he almost came back to take it anyway.
Well, it was close. It was so close.
It was so close. So we'll just have to see what happens this particular time. I doubt that kind of thing's going to happen again today, though.
No.
Right. Hello, everyone. We're on into round number 2 here for our new player tournament. This time we are going to be featuring Kin and JK, Tubak, Lady Volk, and Elmin. This particular match. What is with all these iron aluminum tiles? And King Morgan, of course, is joining me here as well. I just got to talk over him a little bit more.
It's a nice map. There's a couple of really good scientific spots, which I'll be very happy to take.
There's not, though, good scavenger spots.
There's no good scavenger spots whatsoever. You could possibly... Well, no, you can't make it work. There's no extra claims. If there were a couple of extra claims, I may be interested in looking at Scavenger,
Scientific
but
HQ has been founded. An expansive HQ has been founded.
Yeah, and you were right about scientific, though. Tubac ends up dropping expansive, and what I was looking at is a really nice scientific location. So I kind of cut that off a little bit, unfortunately. Kennen has decided, nope, go to Scavenger anyway. Oh man, we'll see how this goes. I really question Tubac dropping expansive here, especially because, in particular, you've got EMP and Power Surge on the black market. So if you're a scientist, you would love that so much, in my opinion. But just have to see how it goes.
especially if you were able,
Scientific HQ has been founded.
if you were able to identify, if you were Elmin or Tubac and you were able to identify your opponent, then yeah, it's going to come off badly for the expansive player.
Absolutely. Now, we can see Ken was running into a bit of a problem early in the game. This is something you've got to keep in mind when you're doing your initial founding, is the tiles around other players that have resources on them are protected. That was a super fast EMP. What in the world?
Yep.
Ken just going a little nuts immediately in this game. I love it. Anyway,
That's-
Ken still has 20 glass. That's good. That's really, really important right now. Anyway, Ken was not able to take his metal mine immediately this game, is my point, because Tubac had it as a protected tile for an extended period of time. And so he's just a little slow off the blocks this game, and he actually slowed himself down even more by attacking with that EMP against Tubac. So now everybody's going to have to be staring at Elman thinking, man, this guy's just starting to run away with it.
But Elmin has doubled down on his steel. He's gone for a massive, gone for 5 steel.
For business.
At the price of power, that's...
I mean, it's a lot of debt. Yeah, Power, by the way, started at $80, I think, and had 5 offices down. So Power is actually a really relevant factor here. That said, when steel's $120, can you really question the man?
No. No, I can't.
Expansive HQ has been
We're down
Especially-
to 105, but still.
Well, Lady Volk there has taken 2 power, the power's high, 1 farm, so she's going to want to buy steel in. But not for a while. I mean, she's not going to make a lot of money off
Scientific HQ has been
those. Not enough to buy a
Power's
steel.
great. Power's great. I mean, let's be honest. Like, 211 off that wind turbine, that's absolutely fantastic. That said, the farm, not looking so hot right now. The farm is definitely a questionable decision. That could have easily just been instead a water pump on this high tile, raking in the cash right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would have been better, but maybe I misspoke. She's actually got the upgrade there.
Yeah, I mean, the power price is just so high. Which
Yeah.
plays into exactly what you were saying earlier. So much steel, that combined with the oxygen and the the offices. Ugh, I can't talk right now. The offices and the high power price. You can make a
Yeah.
lot of money on power HP level 1, even if you are a scientist.
Well, Colony is using 1.2 power, which is quite a fair bit. I mean, Elmin is, well, he's racing ahead here, but he's going to have to watch his debt and watch his power. Because it's going to be if he's 50k, 55, 56, he's going to be stacking that debt up. And he needs something, he needs some power, and he needs it quick. Because otherwise he's going to
Absolutely.
be in big trouble.
I agree with you here, and this is actually my big concern, is when you're making this much steel, it might have been easy. When did we see the upgrades? This is an important question right now. So Kennen hit level 2 before Elman hit. So Elman's got 1 geotherm secured at this point and online. I don't know. Yeah, there are no more geotherms on the map. Elman not going to be able to rely on those exclusively to cover his power costs. He's only positive 0.5 power right now, and that's after scrapping a steel mill, so...
Yeah, once he scrapped it into a patent lab, understandable, but where's his power? Oh, geotherm, I see.
Yeah, he's got that 1 geotherm secured, but that's it.
It's barely enough.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about that as we move forward. We're going to have to see something like
A scientific
maybe
HQ has been
superconductor
upgraded.
with some solar panels next HQ level. He can hold on for now with this, okay, but it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be pleasant.
No. And silicon's a long way away. I mean, glass is going to be quite strong because there are 4 warehouses down. People are using...
Lab is constructed.
I know Lady Volk
Science on-
got that third wind turbine, which I don't, with steel the price it is, that concerns me slightly.
Yeah, steel just sticking very expensive right now.
Well, Lady Volk's buying it, isn't she?
Scavenger
So
HQ has been upgraded.
she's gone for a patent lab as well. Wow. Interesting
just
play.
committed to not using the steel.
Really interesting play.
I like the water pump now. I mean, that's nice to see, especially when you're up against, as a scientist, when you're up against another scientist who also has water secure, it just makes so much sense in the world to go ahead and get into that water pump and make that money while the money is there, rather than trying to hold that water price high. So I really like seeing moves like that at Elite Bulk. A lot of scientists wouldn't make that play.
Well, 4 wind turbines.
Expansive HQ has been upgraded.
That's a lot of wind turbines. I'm kind of questioning that number of wind turbines, especially because we're to the point now with this group of wind turbines where one of them is on a very weak tile. It has no bonuses to wind production whatsoever. It's not near a cliff. It has no change in elevation whatsoever. It's just a weak tile all around.
0.7 wind is okay, but waste of a claim, in my opinion. 2
Yeah,
wind
that's a big
turbines.
concern, right?
Yeah, 2 wind
How many
turbines.
claims
would
do you
be-
have for power as a scientist? Not that many.
Well, yeah, and it's not as if you could really rotate them into anything. So long term, that's a wasted time. Well, teleportation, so
That'll help.
it's a strategy. It's an interesting strategy. I don't think it's going to work, but I can see the logic behind it.
Yeah. So many patent labs, and this is actually seems to be a common theme in a lot of multiplayer games these days, and I always love seeing how it plays out, is so many people get into patent labs, and then it's interesting to watch how they prioritize what patents are available. So we've got Lady Volk after teleportation, which will allow use of these wind turbines later. It'll also allow easier steel production. I really hope after we see teleportation, HQ4, we see some steel come down, because that is sticking above
Yeah.
$100. We've got carbon scrubbing from Elman. We've got, I believe it was perpetual motion from Ken, is what he was after for a while.
He's gone
Now
in.
we are on to slant drilling.
Yeah,
Black market is online.
but I mean,
Chewbacca picked up perpetual motion. Maybe he stole the patent lab away? Or did it get auctioned? Hang on, there's too many things going on. I can't. It was an auction. That's awful. So Kenan was after perpetual motion for a while. I swear that's what he had started in his patent lab. Then it auctions off for 10,000 on over to Tubac. Okay.
I hate that when it happens. But I mean,
that's fantastic.
Ken's in a world of trouble just because he's shipping things in so far. I mean, he's bringing silicon in. I mean, silicon's a high price, but how much is it costing him to ship that? It's costing
A lot.
142. He's using nearly 1 unit of fuel. So I mean, for every shipment, wow, he's losing
Yeah,
$30.
he's using 1 unit of fuel per 2 units of silicon, so half a fuel.
So
half
he-
a fuel in order to get 1 silicon.
If
That doesn't
he-
look all that valuable to me right now.
He's losing $40 on that tile.
Absolutely. And what this does also is it kind of cuts him off from being able to use fuel as profit, because any fuel that he makes is going to have to pay down his own fuel debts in real time first.
And that's it. It's a
So the
non-starter.
electrolysis reactor isn't available.
So, well, at least he's making some money on his other tiles, but even so.
The black market.
I guess,
is
but we have
the
got to
business.
see HQ level 4 right now. I mean, you've got the water pumps down. Those are okay, but you've got too much water stored up for them to truly be profitable right now. You need to get down. Going into this electrolysis reactor, this is a really, really big mistake, in my opinion, right now. Yeah, you like to see fuel prices knocked down because you're using a lot of fuel. But you're not going to make any money here. It's just not, it's not there to be had. Meanwhile, this single glass kiln is already at positive $120 on its own.
If it was
After
running,
that-
it would be good.
If it was running, it would be fantastic. If it had some friends, because your secondary buildings, they're like Bob Ross trees. They always need a friend. Okay?
Yeah, that's it.
You've got to pair them up.
Oh, at least, if not 3. A nice little triangle is the way forward.
Absolutely. It's just very concerned about the fact that we've got electrolysis reactors down instead of additional glass kilns. Like, glass kilns are already significantly more profitable. Nobody else is in that market except for Tubac. You can easily shut him down with EMPs and power surges because those are down at 3K right now. And he's not the scientist in the game.
No. Elmin, I think, is probably going to edge him out. Well, he's going to rotate his power out into water, which, given the price of water, is a very good move.
Until Ken sells down all of this, because he's got 800 stored up, but, you know.
Well, yes. If he sells it down.
If he sells it. there's always that interesting question, right? I love doing this when I can get away with it and actually pay enough attention to do so, is keep that price high, because it doesn't affect you by being high at all. It's just potential money that you aren't gaining yet. Get everybody else to make transitions into these resources, and then just put their legs out from under them.
Mm-hmm. Elmin's got a couple of electronics factories which are just sitting there not doing anything because they need carbon.
Yeah,
Silicon. Yeah, need to get that shipped out.
And teleportation not available, so that will have to be flying through the air.
Yep, but you've got to buy it. Why isn't
Now,
they not shipping
I want
those
to add
out?
to this, I really like the fact that he has one metal mine stuck on aluminum right now, for two reasons. First of all, aluminum's still quite valuable, right? Second, is it discourages pirates.
Mhm.
Because if pirates come down, they're going to get way more aluminum than they're going to get in electronics. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's just a nice little small play you can make to leave one primary there, so that your secondaries aren't getting snapped up in the air.
I think Elmin needs to turn on auto supply. He obviously hasn't got the option for auto supply checked, which is why his buildings are sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, he's got the cash available to get that running, so...
But he hasn't
it's
checked
just
the
a-
box.
well, yeah.
Something to look at moving forward for him.
Gotta have that secured. Gotta make sure that you're actually using your buildings once they're down, because every single second that goes by where these are not operational is $200 out of Elman's pocket. And let me tell you, that adds up over time. If I could have $200 a second in my pocket, I'd take that in an instant.
Oh, without a doubt. He's resolved the situation though, he's got them up and running again. He's the only guy with a patent lab, which is, a pleasure dome, which is making good money, $373. I like that. I mean, potentially he could transfer that later on into an off-world market if he wanted to.
Or get it stolen away, because Tubax has none of that today.
But I mean, the off-world markets are looking strong, very strong. Oxygen again is going to be a fantastic launch.
Yeah, Oxygen's going to work out. It's not as strong as it was in the last game, for sure, I would say. But because the oxygen price is so low right now, with all this fuel flying around the map everywhere, everybody's been making oxygen because they've been making fuel, that keeps the oxygen price low. It's still a really nice launch. That said, Ken's dead.
Yes, he's gone.
Just throwing it out there. He's done. Also, upgrading to level 5. This is something that I highly recommend nobody do when somebody is trying to buy out your stock. And that should be fairly self-explanatory, but can be kind of difficult to see in the moment when you're playing the game, right? Because in the game, you're like, I gotta get to HQ level 5, I gotta upgrade, I gotta get more claims so I can make more money. That's a fantastic idea. Thing is, when you're dead, it's really hard to make money.
It's impossible to make money when you're dead.
Yeah, it's exactly correct. And so when somebody's buying you actively in that exact moment, or if somebody is threatening to buy you by just having a large stockpile, you have to be very, very cautious about upgrading, because you need to have that money that you spent on the upgrade to defend yourself. You need to be able to buy up your own stock, protect yourself from that majority buy that Ken was just subjected to.
Yeah, you've got to push along in that situation. And there we go, Elmin's been hit by what we were saying in the last game, having all your claims going around your colony or around your HQ. Those power surges will just follow any path they can find. Hasn't hit him too badly, but it's not great. He could have had one of his reactors on that spare water tile below the food. That would have been better.
This is my favorite subsidiary ever. Just like, yep, gonna make glass. All I want to do with my life is sit around and make glass. Thank you, subsidiary.
Well, yeah, the glass market's going to be dead very shortly. But I mean, Tubak's in a really good position now. He's had a nice boost in his share price from buying out Ken. So Elmin's got a bit of an uphill task.
Certainly, and I think that is the biggest deal about buying out Ken. I mean, yeah, he's making money off of it. It's not a huge amount, but it's not a small amount either. I imagine we're looking at about 360 per second over to Tubak right now from Ken, which is decent.
Well, it's the share price.
The share price, exactly what you were talking about just a second ago. The share price is $10 higher than Elman's is. That's a big deal.
That's a massive deal. That makes it so much harder to buy even one share when you're paying an extra $10,000 for it.
Absolutely, and those last 5 are going to cost an extra 100,000 because of it. So
That's it. It's a nice cheap way to boost your share price to defend yourself.
absolutely, and you still do get to make money off of those shares. And also, let's just be honest, when you are the expansive player in a game against 2 scientists and a scavenger, not having that scavenger have access to power surges and EMPs, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, Tubac has suffered at Ken's hands, hasn't he? A lot of the black market effects have been coming from the ex-scavenger.
Absolutely, and so very nice to not have to worry about having that 40-second cooldown targeting Tubac every single time that it's up for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and it's his neighbour as well, isn't it? So
Oh, and Network Fire's
Just disappointed
right on
in
top
you.
of that off-world market. That's what I like to see.
there's the Goon Squad gone. Goon Squads are
Our
cheap.
methods continue to improve.
Yeah, Goon Squads are pretty darn cheap this game. I think that's partially, once again, you've got double scientist going on, right?
Hmm.
And so, why would you waste a black market cooldown on a Goon Squad as a scientist, right? Somebody hits you with an EMP. Alright, well, you can buy a Goon Squad, try and, like, protect one tile. Nah, forget that. Just hit them right back. It's going to be way more effective. And people aren't likely to attack you in the first place.
That's it. But you don't often see Goon Squads at that price at this stage of the game. Very rare.
No, you don't. Very rare. But on the other hand, it's very rare to see 2 scientists in the game, let's be honest.
And that's true. You don't get the spots, do you? It's very rare.
New
Oh,
land
man.
is available
I do
for
want to point
auction.
out that we have $250 steel. Would have really liked to see some more steel production. I don't know, our players just a bit more steel. You know, steel's a good resource is what I hear.
Well, even better for the scientist, because he doesn't have to... well, Tubac's got no iron coming in at the moment. Oh, yes, he has. He's got one mine. Hiding under his name there.
So,
But
He
he's run
was
it.
trying to use those solar condensers this game to get some of the carbon, to get some of the oxygen, but might need to look back.
Yeah.
black
Since it's
market
over
is
$100
open for
here.
business.
Well, they're going to be 200. They're going to be profitable, very, very profitable when that other mine comes up for the iron.
Ah, there it is. Good. That's what I need to see. I need to see more iron flowing in over here. Because, I mean, it's such a great resource to have access to. Even could have considered, and I definitely would have, a hacker array this game was definitely an option. You've got 5 farms sitting around. Make one of those a hacker array. Don't sell down your iron. Just have a bunch of iron. That lets you make steel, and then hack up that iron price. You can get some work done, even with a primary resource with a hacker, too.
Oh, definitely. I'd be very, very keen to hack iron. That would be a nice, because nobody else has got any real access to iron. I mean, the scientists have all got them covered in steel mills, so why not?
And they can make a transition if they want to, but then you just make the cell a little early.
Yeah.
That's okay. You just wasted like 40 seconds of steel production, potentially, by doing that.
Exactly. Who's got their... Oh, he's got them switched. He's switched off his steel mills. Good Tubac. They're not profitable.
The black market is on.
Not at all. Just sell the iron straight out.
Yeah, I mean, he could probably turn them back on at this point, but it's not a huge deal one way or the other. He's got 200 iron stored up. Tubac, I gotta say though, I think one of the biggest factors for him this game, he actually just improved iron production. Not so sure about that one. But he's got almost $1,000 a second coming in from Ken right now,
That's
who is just committed to chemicals.
wow. He's in a very powerful position, Tubac. Although I do want to see an off-world market from him.
Do you? I'm not so sure about that, actually.
I think
I
he's
don't
going to
want to see
need
it.
it. I think he's going
I
to
think
need
I've
it.
decided I don't want to see it.
Really?
You think he's going to need it? Why do you think he's going to need it?
Because Elman's in a lot of debt, but Elmin's got the off-world market. He's got
Optimization routines
decent.
successful.
Has he got any upgrades? Let's see. Yep, I want to see an off-world market from Tubac. Let him clean up Elmin pretty rapidly.
Alright, you want to see the off-world market. I don't want to see the off-world market. So I'll explain that real fast, which it's very, very simple. Tubac already has $275,000 stored away. He only needs 100,000 more to clean this up. An off-world market, steel's been ridiculously expensive this game, right? It's coming down. It's coming down, slowly but surely. That said, an off-world market still costs 65,000. Okay, we go and we glance at a launch. It's going to take 2 launches to make that back. So we're talking about putting down an off-world market. First of all, you got to buy a Goon Squad to protect it, because there are mutinies, and that's kind of a pain. Maybe it'll get hit by a power surge, maybe it'll get hit by an EMP. You can't protect it indefinitely against 2 scientists, so your off-world market drops. and then you sit there praying it'll make money. It's going to take at least 3 minutes to do that in best case scenario. And instead, you could just do something like you away your opponent's off-world and say, I'll use this to win the game. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think you're probably going to be... yeah, he does only need 100k.
The black
But...
market is open for business.
I mean, he's down to needing 40 at this point if he were to cancel a launch. So I think he's gonna be in a decent position. Now he only needs like 20. We're just getting real close to finishing this up. 97% on Elman right now. I like the decision to not build the off-world market.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It was the correct decision. But Lady Volk, she's got 2 off-world markets now. Both at the colony. One at the colony. Where's the second one? Oh, under construction. Down the bottom
Okay.
there.
Yeah, there it is. Just attached to the HQ right there. I think that's fine.
2
That
little...
said, what I will question is Tubak's decision to get aggressive against Elman's off-world market in particular. I guess he had it exposed. I would have liked to see a spy, though, down on the more valuable off-world market of Lady Volk. Tubak does knock out Elman. That's an important development here. I think we can say for sure that Tubak's got a significant, ridiculous advantage at this point.
I expect him to clean it up really quickly.
Yeah, I would agree with that generally. That said, Lady Volk's got a nice, valuable off-world market over there. Drop a spy on it, start working your way through that with network viruses. That's going to be a nice, valuable market to be able to take out. The other reason I vote for that is once you've gotten to a point where you're pretty sure you can kill the number 2 player,
Successful off-road
then
shipment.
it's time to shift your attention to number 3. And Tubak's had Elman dead for a couple minutes now. You don't need to be attacking the player that you're going to buy out. You need to be attacking the player that you need to buy out next at that point and make sure that they aren't going to be able to rise up and cause a problem. So it's small things, but these are the small things we can look at and say, well, it's just a little better.
Yeah, Elmin at one point they were about equal. And Elmin did have the off-world market when Tubak didn't. But
Yeah, but at that point, Tubak had like a $200,000 lead. It was pretty ridiculous.
yeah, I suppose I'd agree with that. But I'd have been worried if I was in Tubak's shoes. It could have...
That's fair, and that is the argument.
Yeah,
Right.
but...
If you're worried, then it is safer to attack the person who is the immediate concern.
Yeah.
But since when have I ever played that way?
Well, it's probably, when you look at it, the meta, it is the sensible thing to do.
You would not believe who we caught red-handed.
Who wants to play sensibly? It's
The
just
black market is online.
Well, once again, I don't like lying to you guys.
This game's
so
done.
I'll just come out and say it. This
Launch
one's
affirmative.
basically over.
What a
Yep.
payout.
Lady Volk, not going to concede because we do use time as a tiebreaker here, of course. That said, Tubak, so like 2 subsidiaries, double the stock price, more stock secured, more money coming in, great territory as an expansive player. It's all over except Fat Lady coming on in and cleaning it up for us.
Yep, just a matter of time. I mean, Tubak was in an excellent position as soon as he bought out Ken. That stock price boost really
Successful off-road shipment.
made him secure. Not safe,
Absolutely.
but secure.
Well, and I think the stock price is almost what lets you get away with making the slightly riskier play of not investing into the off-world, right? You
We caught a dirty
kind of leans
rat
you in
trying
some
to
ways
break
toward
our stuff.
fighting for that short term because your opponent just has to make
The
so
black
much more
market
cash
is
than
open
you.
for business.
They feel the
Shipment
need to
lines.
invest rather than fight
And all the money.
just immediately. It lets you get in there and feel a little bit more confident because you don't have to make as much money as they do. You just have to make a little bit less.
Yeah, as long as you're
You can
making
really get
similar.
aggressive. Yeah, you're going to be all right. Tubak needs 444 to clean this up. He's on 440 right now. As soon as he sells some stuff down, as soon as he cancels his launches, we are going to be done here and moving on toward game number 3.
Yeah. There we go. Done.
Would be good. It sounds like a launch finished up there, but that works too. That'll get it done. Good win for Tubak. Good win for Tubak. Elman, I liked his initial found. I liked his initial position. Once again, I get really concerned about these double silicon tiles. That always worries me. instead of taking maybe a high tile that would have required a little bit more fuel to get there. I always worry about this aluminum that's separated from the base, because it ends up being so many resources that you can't use now. And every moment when you can't invest your money it's time lost, it's profit lost when you're not investing with that money. And so it's just a compounding problem as the game goes on to have resources sitting in buildings away from your headquarters.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Keep your claims as close to the HQ as possible. But I mean, he should have had glass. Well, I think he probably did have these 2 silicons as glass before the AI decided it was going to kill glass market completely.
Probably for a while, but I always, if you're gonna have those secondary buildings away from your headquarters, you pretty much have to have teleportation, like 99% of the time. It's a necessity.
It certainly is. But Lady Volk very quickly took teleport. Well, she had to take teleportation, didn't she? After taking that 3rd and 4th wind turbine very early.
Yeah, and that was, I think, a serious problem for Lady Volk throughout the game, just not able to make these tiles as profitable as they could have been elsewhere. If they had been a water tile, if it had been an iron tile, could have made steel more easily, could have made food more easily, all kinds of little details like that. Or just have it next to the base, make it easier to transition into chems and electronics. Just...
Would have been good.
Yep.
Right, you have to excuse me for a couple of minutes.
Yep.
I
Do
will
your thing.
be back.
Alright, guys. I'm trying to decide if there's anything more I need to look at in this game. We can check things like black market and optimizations, of course. Always nice little details to look at. Ken getting pretty darn aggressive with those EMPs. But we can see that didn't really work out long term. I was really nervous about that Sol 1 EMP onto two-back steel in particular. Just because it does let the scientist potentially take a quick lead. Two-back pulled back from that pretty fast. So he did a good job recovering from that. I always have to question a $2,000 investment at that stage of the game, though, just to hit your opponent, rather than going ahead, getting to HQ2, getting down your profitable buildings, of which there were plenty available that game, and then moving forward with the attacks. It's always just kind of odd. And of course, the HQ level 5 upgrade was the nail. Took out Ken when Two-Back got aggressive. That said, Elman tried to make some holograms work. That wasn't going to pan out with Spies available, unfortunately for him. Spies just... in that 4-man game, when Two-Back only really had one opponent, the holograms from Elman were never going to get a whole lot done, unfortunately, because Elman wasn't worried about Lady Volk. Lady Volk kind of fell behind with some of those misclaims early, in particular committed toward power that probably shouldn't have been. Just fell behind, wasn't really a relevant factor. Ken kind of fell behind, was easy to knock out. So the holograms are never going to do a whole lot in that situation, because your opponent can just spy up your whole territory, especially when you aren't an expansive. All that said, it was nicely played from Two-Back. Lots of network viruses landing down, trying to... every single one of them hitting a goon squad. Good use of the spies there to make sure that was going on. And then, of course, landing a ridiculous number of mutinies later in the game. Landing 5 mutinies. All of those hit their target. That's really nice. Really nice for Two-Back. And we can see that probably a lot of this black market use contributed pretty heavily toward him taking that as easily as he did in the late game, because it was not particularly close. And then, of course, we see optimizations. He just got him across the board. That's fine. It's fine. Not a huge deal there. Let's see. Virtual reality, nanotech, carbon scrubbing thinking machines. Interesting that superconductor didn't get picked up this game. Just an interesting detail. Because superconductor typically very, very strong. And we know that power was going a little nuts at times that game. We've got this line here for power, right? We can see a couple of important spikes there. It didn't really compare to, I believe we got glass here, electronics, and chems, right? Our 3 big resources went a little more nuts. But still, power's no slouch that game, because these guys were pushing up into the 350 toward 400 at that point. All right. Not too much more to look at here. We can check balance sheet, but I don't think there's a whole lot to see. Two-Back not doing as much shipping was definitely a relevant factor here. Able to sell a lot of fuel, a lot of fuel. We can see Ken bought a lot of fuel. Elman didn't buy much fuel, which is a good thing. Lady Volk didn't buy too much fuel either, also a good thing. But a lot of fuel being sold by two back there. More than any of our other players. Alright. And then steel, of course. Once again, steel was a huge factor for Elman and Tubac both. Looks like Tubac managed to get the upper hand in steel production. One has to wonder if Elman made the correct decision, sacrificing some of his iron tiles in order to get to those late-game buildings like the Patent Lab, the Optimization Center, and eventually the Off-World Market. Because that is what we saw him give up in order to get those special buildings. That some of that's just going to be the expansive bonus coming on into play there. All right. That was a nice little review. Let's get out of here. Going to host up game number 3, shall we? I'll change the lobby name. All right, next round, we are looking at Jim Bob the Mighty, Lady Volk, once again, Andreas G, and Fox Blazing. Fox Blazing will be joining us. So let's check out what happened in round 2. Hexapus, looks like, took round 2. So 1 win on over to Hexapus there. Nobody has managed to come away with 2 wins just yet, it looks like. Andreas G still has the opportunity for that, it would appear. So I'm going to go ahead and come on over here. Check this. Just trying to check up on things very quickly, see where we're at with that game. It looks like it... Okay, here we go. Things are updating for me now. So yeah, Terra Incognita and Black Magic are still covering our current ongoing game. We haven't finished up all of the round 2 matches yet. And in fact, nobody's knocked out of that game yet. We're still back on Sol 8, so that one was a little bit slow going, apparently. That said, looks like Andreas G / El Capitan has got a nice advantage running, or at least has gotten aggressive here, has felt comfortable getting aggressive against macros. So we'll just have to see how that pans out. You can see the game and hear the more direct commentary, of course, over on twitch.tv / Terror Incognita. I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and throw that up in chat right now. That's the one that I have pulled up at the moment, at least. So that's what we're checking out right now. That's what we're keeping an eye on for the time being. I'm just trying to get a little caught up here, see what's going on. Jim Bob the Mighty has also felt comfortable enough to get aggressive. Interestingly enough, so El Capitan got aggressive first against macros, and then Jim Bob went after Phil. Kind of an interesting situation, because there is always the option when one player gets aggressive immediately and all the other 3 players are in a reasonable position, the 3 players can always try and dogpile the initial guy and knock him down for his for being dangerous, for being in the lead and trying to expand on it. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see that Jim Bob has decided, no, I can just win a slugging match by taking out Phil first. Probably trying to get a hold of Phil's 2 off-world markets in particular is what Jim Bob wants to do. I don't even know if Phil actually has 2 off-world markets or if we've got mutinies flying around all over the place. Regardless, it's going to be a nice pickup for Jim. Also, Jim's kind of in a position where he's going to want to drive this game late, as he currently has 3 optimization centers working for him. Working very, very hard at improving his, I believe that's oxygen production that he's after right now. Oxygen being very expensive, almost certainly the off-world launch that these guys are going after. You've got $250 oxygen running. I haven't really spotted if there's dry ice on the map or not, but we'll just have to see. That said, nobody's been knocked out of that round number 3 just yet. Round number 2, excuse me. Our game 3 in round number 2. Oh, man. Well, we've got 100% on both Phil and macros, so somebody should be getting knocked out of this pretty darn fast. Looks like Phil's trying to hold on as long as humanly possible. Macros just got knocked out by El Capitan. Stock price isn't too much higher than Jim Bob's, though, and El Capitan still has all of his extra stock available. All 5 units of his extra stock are kind of left over, whereas Jim Bob's completely secured all 10. So we could still have a close game here, depending on how long Phil can hold on. It is worth noting that we did have 3 scientific colonies in that game in particular. Definitely a strange one. Definitely a strange one. 3 scientists and a robot. Man, food's starting to spike. I'm kind of wondering if that's an alternate strong off-world launch for these guys. I can't check on that myself, unfortunately. But it might be a strong alternate off-world launch. It might just be that nobody's making food because they committed all of their water toward this oxygen production. Both of those definitely potential reasons for that high food price. Philithanic trying to hold on still. I think Jim Bob has the 100%, but probably doesn't want to interrupt any potential off-world launches because he knows he's going to need all the cash that he can scrape together to take down El Capitan after Philithanic's been knocked out. I'm a little surprised that El Capitan hasn't made any stock purchases just yet. It would have been possible to get maybe a couple in Jim Bob before he picks up Philithanic, just to get them when they're a little bit cheaper, because now Jim Bob's stock price has jumped by $10. So you can get them for a little bit cheaper, get them for 20,000 cheaper, effectively, than he would right now. Or he could have bought into his own stock. I'm kind of curious if he was trying to get an off-world online, exactly what the deal was there. But you need to see this money invested somewhere. Loose cash just sitting around that you're not using is kind of worst case scenario for your money. You can't just have money sit. Your money has to flow. Money that sits around is worthless to everybody.
At this point. And I think pretty much barring something catastrophic happening, I think he wins this game.
Once again, still looking over on Terra Incognita's stream. We are down to 2 players there.
Just having a full
El Capitan had control of
shares.
macros
This
for quite
is
some
where,
time, so he's making a decent amount of money off that subsidiary, but
before I got
Philithanic
a
is
chance,
also proving
first of all, El
a
Capitan
very
is
valuable
buying his own
subsidiary,
shares.
and I
Yeah,
think
he
they're about
absolutely
equal
does.
in how much money they're
Definitely
feeding
need
to their
to be
owners
done.
at this
His-
point.
he's-
On top of that,
Jim
El
Bob is
Capitan
getting
never
those
bought into his
so
own stock,
cheaply.
so now he's just getting into a situation
That-
where
that's, you know,
his
he
stock
gotta
is
secure
very, very
himself,
cheap
and
to
this
purchase
is-
compared to
I mean,
Jim Bob the
he's
Mighty,
basically
because Jim,
$1 million
every single
to
stock that he
kill
buys
Jim
just
Bob.
raises his stock
So
price
you
more
need
and
to
more
do
and more.
that
Same
just
could have
for
been
the,
said for El
you know,
Capitan, but Jim's the
it's
one getting a
long-term
hold.
play that costs you cash in the short term, but you still need to do it. But yeah, this game's absolutely over now. Jim Bob needs what, 400k or something like that, and yeah, El Capitan needs 800, 900 plus.
Yes. Worth noting, if you look at El Capitan's base, he is losing $12 per chem lab, and chems are only $9. So this is one of those times where you need every single penny, and look how profitable things like food are. Well, not anymore because the water's so.
Yeah, I was going to say there's actually not that much money to be made. I mean, electronics is really where it's
Yeah.
at, but they already have a bunch of electronics.
Yeah.
So you're really looking at something like if you don't have the water, then there's not a whole lot you can do. El Capitan has a little bit of water, but not a huge amount of water. He's only getting 0.5 per second as it is at the moment, because he's already making some food and some power.
And El Capitan does have a hacker array out, and it looks like he's probably been hacking chemicals, I believe it is.
He has been, yeah. And Jim Bob is keeping some chems in his stockpile, which is a sensible thing to do when that happens.
I wonder if does Jim have a spy on that area? Let's see.
No, I don't. Oh, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Just out of it. Anyway, he has the money now. again, he needs to realize that he has the money, which he doesn't seem to have done.
I think he's probably just waiting for this launch, and then he's gonna buy him.
Yeah.
He's so close. And at this point,
There it is.
El Capitan wasn't really looking for it, so you just wait for the.
Yeah. A well-played game overall by Jim Bob. And, I mean, to be honest, I think the teleportation play kind of worked out. I mean, it let him make that insane amount of money that he made on chems.
On chems, that's true.
So in the long term, it did have it was a huge investment, and it put him behind quite a lot. But he was able. I mean, he was really the first person to identify that chems was so good that you basically had to make chems at whatever cost.
And he did lose out on carbon scrubbing, so in that
Yeah,
case,
yeah, he did.
couldn't stick it next to his base,
But yeah, overall, I mean, I think he played certainly the mid and late game very well indeed.
yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump to the next game since we're a little bit behind.
That's true. Yeah, we are. Let's do that. Shall I make? Yeah, I'll make
Yes.
it so we can hopefully have a reasonably reliable connection without any storm interference. Max players 6. There we go. So this game we have. Who do we have? We have Trat Pingvin, Macross, Elmin, and Dryad. Elsewhere, by the way, Group A, Toodback won that game.
Yeah, Fox Blazin's a good player. Sharp players chatting a little bit in the lobby there. Morgan! Sad we don't have Morgan back yet.
I'm back.
Oh, you are back. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I just been muted for a couple of minutes.
Gotcha. That's fine. That's good. We are, I don't know if you saw, but we're waiting on one of our players to come back.
Yeah.
Ask for a few minutes, and we'll be getting started.
Oh yeah, I saw. I'll be ready very shortly.
Okay, sounds good. Oh, man. Trying to think here. let's see. Why don't I check and see? I think Year End and Blues might have gotten their game going at this point. So while we're waiting, people can feel free to tune in over there. Not sure about Terra Incognita yet. I'm gonna do a little refresh here, see what Twitch is telling me. Oh, I thought I was gonna try and not be tired for these. That didn't really work out, did it? And Black Magic. Looks like Black Magic has their stream back online. I'll tell you what. I'm going to check on a couple things over here. I should really tap back in a moment.
I'm ready.
Okay. You're ready. Everybody else is ready.
Let's go.
Let's go ahead and get started. If I can just get back in off-world proper. Here we are. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to round number 3 of our new player tournament. This time we've got Fox Blazing, El Capitan, Lady Volk, and Jim Bob the Mighty, 3 of whom have already taken a game in this tournament, so could be a particularly interesting round this time around. And once again, of course, King Morgan's joining us.
Hello, hello. Well, I think there's only really one good spot, and that's that scavenger spot. Everything else is, well, you're probably looking at robotic.
A robotics HQ has been
Well,
founded.
El Capitan likes the robotics spot, apparently. He's going to take that. I kind of like what Jim Bob the Mighty is doing here. I'd like it better if there were warehouses on the board. I kind of questioned taking it quite as soon as he did, because there was the scavenger location available. You kind of want to make sure that other people are going to be actually using the glass you want to make with the silicon, but I'm still okay with the found, as long as you can maybe secure some of this water, try and pick up teleportation later in the game.
Yeah, I would have gone straight for the scavenger spot myself.
I probably agree with you. It feels like the safer spot, the more secure spot in a lot of ways, but
Yeah, it's
you know,
proven.
I like people taking risky plays, though. I also kind of like the fact that Jim Bob, I don't know if this is actually the right play, I don't think it is, because steel started off so expensive, but I still like the
HQ has been upgraded.
creativity in going for an iron mine rather than just the triple steel mill. I think the triple steel mill would have been better, more profitable, but it's amusing at least.
Well, iron was high, wasn't it? So
Well, it
it's
started at 40.
it's a quick, easy pile of cash. I don't
It
like.
is, but steel started at 120.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like, you want this iron and a half, or do you want an extra mini-much steel? Because not only do you get it from the steel mill, but you got the adjacency bonus flowing in as well.
I don't like his water claims there. I think that's wrong. I think he should go for the one just to the left of it. Those
You
that
want
high.
to take the triangle.
Yeah, I wouldn't take the triangle without a doubt.
I can agree with that. I mean, I understand taking the 2 water that he did, because they are the most valuable water tiles near him. That said, he is a scientist. On top of that, the triangle of water has some carbon with it as well, so that lets you get a little more creative, perhaps, as the game goes on. Maybe you pick up slant drilling, things get a lot more interesting all of a sudden. So,
Yeah.
I agree with you there. I don't like the claims, would like to see them different.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities there with the iron and water. Sorry, the carbon and water together. But maybe don't iron his opponents, those 2 tiles. Possibly, but water's pretty common. I don't think anybody's going to really want that water, apart from
Yeah,
Jim
I don't
Bob.
see anybody struggling for it at all.
No. So, good idea, but Lady Volk.
Fox Blazing. This is why I
Again.
love watching you play.
How's he doing?
Alrighty, we got that mutiny onto this aluminum mine up here. Just trying to get aggressive, trying to just take some cash away from their opponent. It's not going to work out quite as well as would have been hoped, because the difficulty with that is Fox Blazing had the better aluminum mine.
Yeah.
So kind of had to sacrifice that in order to get this mutiny done. That said, you still have the option of mutinying it back if you want to. And aluminum's looking a little bit difficult for some of our players this game.
Yeah.
Black market is open for business.
I think Fox definitely needs to sell a little bit. Well, too late now. Maybe sell some of the aluminum down and mutiny that back. Either force his opponent to re-mutiny it, which of course he can't because of the countdown timer. But
Scientific HQ
I don't know.
has been upgraded.
We'll see.
Regardless, Fox is pushed up to HQ level 3, everybody else still stuck on 2 for the time being. Getting into those electrolysis reactors, not super profitable, but not bad either. Kind of lets you keep your chemicals a little bit better, a little bit longer, so I definitely don't mind the decision.
Yeah, Glass I think's the market that he could be in. I'd like to see him in Glass.
It's true, but where's the silicon? I mean, way down in that southeast corner, Glass is definitely profitable, but it's a pretty hefty commitment to get into it in a lot of ways right now, and it kind of just funnels money into your opponent's coffers long term, it feels like.
But it's only $15. You know, you could afford to have it go up to 50 with Glass at that price.
You could afford it, but then your opponent drops a silicon mine, just easily rakes it all in, switches that into, let's say, some solar panels, and I don't know if it's better than the reactor play.
Yeah.
We can go back and forth on this for forever.
We can.
I think both were potentially valid, but I understand the logic behind Fox's decision.
Yeah, whatever he does, he's pretty well set.
It's true. It's true. Being HQ level 3 before everybody else, hey, it's good. Who knew? Interesting little network virus there from Fox, trying to check out his wind turbine in particular. Perhaps, I'm not sure really. Wanted to keep those as they were, maybe trying to target some of the steel. I'm really not sure what the purpose of the network virus was.
Well,
Did it hit a hologram?
Yeah, he's exposed the patent lab.
Okay, yeah, it did hit the hologram. Interesting.
Which I would imagine that would have been hologrammed.
Yeah. Well, no, the hologram is still being saved up, so maybe it wasn't hologrammed.
Right.
Yeah, Jim Bob is sitting on the hologram right now that's been purchased this game, so that literally just was checking, I guess.
HQ has been upgraded.
Maybe he wanted to see where the Goon Squad was, in case he wanted to hit his wind turbines later.
Yeah, perhaps. Still, though, you always have to wonder if it's better to use the network virus as soon as you pick it up, or if it's better to just wait till that cooldown comes back around
Dangerous
and attack at that point, so you can just network virus and immediately drop if it's unprotected. Using the network virus immediately assumes a Goon Squad and protection, and in this case, that didn't pan out.
Yeah, I mean, an EMP would have probably been pay an extra 1,000, have an EMP, put it on a tile that you think is going to be ungooned, and that'll expose any Goon Squads.
Absolutely. I think that might have been the right call here.
Yeah, and of course you shut down a large portion of it, well, practically all his tiles.
You know, details, shutting down all of your opponent's production. It's a minor thing.
Yeah,
Whatever.
but Fox has taken that silicon all the way down south.
That he has.
I would have
Looks like he
preferred.
does want to get into that glass market.
Would you have taken the one that's adjacent to El Capitan's base?
Oh, definitely.
So-
Definitely. For like 8 different reasons. The primary one, of course, is that it'll upset your opponent and make them mad. So, that's always valuable, right? Immediately. That's like the first 4 reasons, if I'm being honest. And then after that, it's just nice to get in your opponent's way, right? Just stop him just a little bit more. Taking the tile away from their base, the only real thing it does, first of all, it's literally like a hair's breadth closer to your base, so it costs 1/1000th of a unit of fuel less, and I guess that has some value. But the other thing it does is it keeps your opponent from getting mad at you, so maybe they target you a little less. And if you want to play like a coward, sure, fine, go that route. That's fine.
I'd steal it every time. But Jim Bob has decided those 2 waters we were discussing earlier were not the ones he wanted, and he's moved over to the triangle that we selected, which is good.
Alright. I mean, I can get on board with that. On the other hand, this means that those tiles sat there, claimed, and did not have a building placed on them for a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly when he moved them, but I watched those being claimed and sit there for a long, long time.
They did sit there unused, didn't they? But there we go. He's having his stuff pirated, but Jim Bob is in D levels of debt already.
The black market is open for business.
He's got teleportation, no. He's got that teleportation.
Even so.
Let's see if that can carry him through. He's after slant drilling now. Meanwhile, El Capitan wants carbon scrubbing. Fox Blazing is just, blazing on ahead with thinking machines at HQ4. I imagine just wants to maybe push to Offworlds and end this the easy way. 37,000 profit on the food launch right now.
Well, there's holograms available. Goon Squad's reasonably cheap. He's going to have thinking machines in 10 seconds. I'd be pushing to off-worlds without a doubt. I mean, carbon, look at the price of carbon. Wow.
Yeah,
He's
not
selling
bad.
it down as well, which...
Which is a mistake. Let's be honest, that's a mistake. $4 carbon you don't sell. You save that up for your upgrade. Let's
Exactly.
be honest here. But, you know, it'll be okay.
There it
I think
is.
it'll be okay.
There's the off-world at
Ah, it's
HQ
the
level
off-world.
4.
So, okay, if you're not saving up for the upgrade, you're saving up for the off-world, right? There's
Yeah.
no reason to let your opponent potentially have cheap chemical production in particular
Yeah, but
while
look,
you were waiting for that off-world.
but the thing is, what is the point of having a hologram when any experienced player is going to look at carbon and look at that massive spike?
It's
that
true.
outrageous spike, and then oh look, there's a corresponding spike with electronics. Oh, somebody's put down an off-world.
Yeah, and I think we do have a glass spike a little bit before that, maybe from an earlier purchase. I'm not entirely sure. But,
He had 90 glass either
Yeah,
in
okay.
stock or he'd
so
bought it.
but I think he bought into that 90 glass a little earlier, because we can see a little spike there too. So it's just, you are exactly correct though. The price spikes like that, the hologram becomes useless.
Yeah. Any experienced player is going to take one look and go, oh look at that.
Off-world market
And
is
it's carbon as well, and he's the only scavenger, so you know where to start looking for that off-world, don't you? But then, is anybody else really in a position to punish him for it? Realistically, only El Capitan is.
I mean, how hard would it be to punish it? Like, you don't even need a spy to spot that thing out, especially with network viruses available. You just start dumping those on that location. One hits, if it's not the off-world, fine, whatever, you just move on to a different spot. You know when off-world is somewhere. There's literally only 5 other tiles you could check. But if it hits a goon squad, then you also know you found the right spot. So you just keep dumping down network viruses till everybody else gets the picture, and even if it's not valuable for one player, it's definitely worth it for all 3 to get aggressive.
Oh yeah, the other 3 need to work together really to slow him down, if not to stop him. Because if they don't, he's in a bit danger of running away with
the
us.
black market is open for
This
business.
patent lab from Jim Bob, you can tell he's kind of feeling the pain from some of the decisions that he's made this game. He has 2 glass kilns down, but there's no adjacency for them. So he's basically just lost an entire glass kiln to the ether because he put his patent lab in kind of a poor position.
Yeah, and I got to question Energy Vaults for power that's
Is
price.
available for option.
But I suppose he needs to do something. I mean, Perpetual
Yeah.
Motion would be a better one for him.
Man, just get financial instruments, somebody else punishes with it later.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I agree with you. Energy Vault goes beyond questionable, I think, and into just kind of a straight-up mistake at the moment.
I think so. It's even on its best day, it's not the most powerful of patents. I mean, what's left? I would have preferred to him to have Perpetual Motion,
A robotics
even
HQ
virtual
has been
reality. I
activated.
think even if he hasn't, well, no, there's no. You could potentially get a Pleasure Dome down, which Lady Volk has. Which
124, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at for sure, this game. There are some on-world prices that are good enough to cover that. You know, food, glass. Still a good tile, though.
But again, she's decided that iron steel production is not for her.
Yeah, I had noticed that much earlier. What we saw initially, and I haven't come back to look at it much because it was kind of a weak opening, was a wind turbine and then 2 farms again. I get the feeling that it's just kind of a pattern for Lady Volk to do that. And these games, it just hasn't been the right decision to move forward quickly and effectively
yeah,
to get through those upgrades.
that is an AI play, though, isn't it? That's somebody who's watched the computer play and decided, that's the way I have to do it.
Yeah, perhaps. That's a fair point. And
So-
we did see some variation. Last time we saw 1 farm and 2 wind turbines. So, you know, there is some variation there, but that's the same basic play 2 games in a row. So I kind of start to worry about that because once you're locked into an opening and you're not a little bit flexible and can move around with the random prices in particular, that's kind of a sign that you'll need to rethink how you're handling the start game.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely a player that we need to give the off-world Discord address to.
All right, 43,000 profit on these food launches that Fox Blazing has flying out. 146,000 in debt, which is literally the only concern that I have about Fox Blazing at this stage of the game. Maybe also that this second off-world has now gone down adjacent to the first.
Oh, yuck.
With EMPs on the board, that's a little... maybe you don't want to do that, but... I mean, come on. You hit HQ5 first. Jim Bob has an off-world coming online. It's completely exposed to Fox Blazing. I mean, already has the mutiny stored up, ready to go. I would be surprised... Okay, we're going to see an EMP get picked up here as well. I would have gone for a network virus myself. EMP entirely acceptable, though.
Well,
And Jim Bob, I think, is really setting himself up to get knocked out of this game with extreme prejudice.
oh yeah. I mean, he could potentially... Yeah. There we go. there we go. Lovely.
Immediately. No hesitation. I love it.
Fox says, that's mine. Get your dirty bits off it. And he takes it, which is lovely. But Jim Bob can defend himself, but the amount of debt he's in, and...
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a stupid amount of debt. It's a stupid amount of debt. We're talking about only $300,000 maybe to buy up Jim Bob if Fox Blazing does it the slow way. Even if it was just a giant chunk right now, you're talking about 340. That's not that much money when you've got 3 off-worlds working for you.
Yeah, I mean, Jim's got such a massive target on his head. He is going to make an absolutely fantastic little sub. He's a nice scientific with an off-world. I mean, he's going to make $1,500, $1,800 a second for him as soon as Fox buys him. I mean,
Oh, look, Jim Bob got his off-world for all of 2
Our
seconds.
methods continue to
That was fantastic. It was hilarious.
yeah, that was unfortunate.
Huge bit of fortune for Fox Blazing, though, at least in my opinion. You definitely... So El Capitan started to, like, get into Jim Bob as well, so those two together could have maybe forced a majority before Jim Bob defends himself. But Jim Bob got that last little bit of stock, and this affords Fox Blazing the opportunity to get the full buy done, rather than the majority buy, without worrying about El Capitan kind of slipping in there and forcing the majority, which will allow for 2 extra claims from Fox Blazing, which could be a pretty big deal this stage of the game. You still got plenty of valuable on-world prices available.
Yeah, those two, as you say, those claims are going to be fantastic for him. They're going to help him clean this up. Clean this game up a lot quicker. I mean, foods. Have you seen the price of foods? That's fantastic. $700. Nearly 50k at launch profit. That's nice.
Yeah. And the on-world price is just fine, too. Like, you can very easily just sit there cranking out food for your off-world markets, and you don't really care. Because either you'll make money on-world, because it's a decent on-world price right now, or you'll just make money off-world, and as long as you control the off-worlds, who cares how cheap it gets?
Exactly. As long as you can launch it time after time. Who's paying? Jim Bob's paying his auto-paying debts. Oh no.
That's a sign that you're headed out of this game pretty darn fast.
yeah. You're not stopping. Not
It's a
stopping
nice
at
button
all.
for when you're feeling lazy, but it's not typically a nice button for actually winning the game.
Well, once your debt goes past a certain point, you've just got to accept, I'm going to be in debt, I'm not going to pay it off, I am just going to go for it. And hope you can prop your share price up by buying other people.
Absolutely. Well,
Yep,
there
there we
goes
go.
Jim Bob. No big surprise there.
That's the problem with Scientific, isn't it? If you don't get your power production sorted out quickly, you can debt spiral so easily.
You can, and that's exactly what happened in this game. It always feels a little bad when I'm playing Scientific myself. I don't want to put down power, because I always think of it as, I'm not using my bonus, and I don't like that, right? But it still has to be done.
Well, it's not that. It's your the early game of Scientific. You're trying to do so many things with so few claims.
So few claims. Yeah.
That power is, well, you've got to do it, but you're sacrificing your profit for it.
It always feels awful, but you know, it feels a lot worse falling out of the game because you had $200,000 of debt.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm really surprised that scavenger spot went third. Very surprised.
Yeah, that's also a really important detail because it gave Fox Blazing got up to HQ3 pretty fast. And when you're third to found in a 4-player game, that third upgrade is so important because it gives you an extra claim.
Mm-hmm.
Huge deal at that stage of the game. You're talking about like a 10% increase in number of claims that you have at that stage of the game.
Yeah.
More than that.
I mean, in my opinion, that scavenger spot was worth 25, 30k worth of debt to take it before anybody else.
Let this be a lesson to you all.
It was definitely a solid spot.
Screw with
It was
us,
a good location.
and we'll screw with
Yeah.
you.
I'm probably biased because I like scavenger so much.
That's true. I mean, with this robotic position that El Capitan picked up, I wouldn't have valued the scavenger as much, but I would have been waiting to take the robotic as soon as the scavenger player had gotten down, just so I was ready to go and move forward in the game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're a robotic player, then that is a nice little spot. You've got good power production, which is important for a robot, easy access to your iron and steel production,
Off-road shipment
and you're not too far away from water.
get all the money.
Yeah, the only thing you're really lacking is aluminum, but that's why you went robotic, right? So you just don't have to worry about it so much.
Exactly. You can afford to buy your aluminium as a robot.
Not an issue.
No.
I'll tell you what is an issue. Having the player who's already got almost an entire subsidiary, owning half your stock, and being the only real major competitor left in the game, because Lady Volk's just fallen so far behind. Having to buy up that steel, never could get through upgrades, never could get buildings down very effectively. We've got one lonely little steel mill trying to power things out as hard as it can, but when you're back down at HQ4 and with one off-world and the other guys are operating at 5 with 2, just too little too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't say that El Capitan's making a good move by trying to buy her out. I mean, she's got an off-world, but...
Oh, Fox, I love you. This is fantastic. Selling out of that stock. Just saying, alright, you want to play that game? We can play that game.
Payout.
Nice. Good move. Very good move.
That's a good move, and it might help explain how Fox... I mean, I'm going to have to go back and watch that Game 1, but we know that Game 1 was a sole 7 win. And if you're willing to make moves like that, to play a little unsafe, to clean up the game just that much faster, it can help you out, because we are looking like we might come down to tiebreakers for this particular tournament.
Yep, you're right. But then Fox was reasonably safe doing that. As soon as El Capitan started buying into Lady Volk, that was its cash tied up in stock. So
It's true.
Fox could easily take acceptable risk.
But how many players are even willing to do that, right? You've got the full 5 secured, you're completely defended against the majority. How many people actually are willing to sell out of their own stock at that point and be like, you know what? We'll just create this vulnerability that I didn't have to, just because it'll help me win that much faster.
I would say out of all the players, 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Success
And even then, only on a very good
Make
day.
room for the profits.
Yep. Well, it's been a good day for Fox, especially this game in particular. 97, 98, 99. Going to be able to knock Lady Volk out very, very soon here. Trying to fight back just a little bit, but $85 stock price.
Whoa.
Even the majority is going to come nowhere close.
That's such a uphill battle for her to even try to get past. When you're paying 87,000 a stock.
And there you go.
Easy.
Almost the $100 stock price for Fox at the end of that game.
Yeah, it was an easy game for him in the end. Well, Jim Bob, I mean, the debt did for him very quickly. Jim Bob could have been a real threat, and I think if El Capitan had played his robots a little bit differently, he would have been a bit more of a competitor.
It's true. El Capitan ended up with some very strange territory in particular that maybe didn't have the best adjacency bonuses. I mean, the computer didn't mess around with this too much once it got a hold of it. And so you can kind of see that it was almost just a little bit of trying to do too much with too little, rather than committing to some particular resources, making sure you're raking in that adjacency. I was also really questioning El Capitan spent like 50,000 or something insane to get this off-world market tile. And yeah, it's an extra tile and it's a decent off-world market location, but with only a 10% bonus on the market, is it worth all that extra flight time for the building to get out there? I'm not sure. There were all kinds of little things that added up for El Capitan. That said, the only thing you want to see when you have a strong early lead in the game is somebody who is also developing almost as fast as you, but with 200,000 more debt.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get that person bought up and the game is just handed right on over to you.
That's it. But you've got to be so careful against the speed of a scavenger.
Mm-hmm. You do. They are always fast out of the gate if played correctly.
Yep. That's it. So, GG.
Alright, well, that'll wrap up this one. I kind of doubt the other two are done just yet. I'm going to try and check on that. Yeah, there's no reporting yet for the other two on the little spreadsheet here. So what I am going to do is tell you guys to go tune in to Dawn Blues, tune in to Terra Incognita, Year End Black Magic, whoever you would like. Keep an eye on round number 3, and I am going to be AFK for just a couple minutes. I'll leave you with Morgan and our other streamers.
Okay, let's have a look at Blues, see who
About that.
is
At
going
this
on.
point, 2D
Oh,
deck
we had
probably.
something.
Let's see, we have... Wow. It's down to 2 back and Phil. Hexapus out. Kenny got majority bought. So yeah, it looks like 2 back is going to get bought out by Phil. Wow. That looks quite an interesting game there. Looks like Phil's been storing his cash up. And there we go, he takes that game. So that's one game cleaned up. Let's have a look at Black Magic's stream. We'll see who's over there. And oh, his game looks like it's gone slightly longer. Elmin, Dryads. Who's that? Well, Tratin VNP. Tratin VN. He's out. And that's... oh, I don't know whose name that is. Oh, Macros 42. He's in a bit of a battle with Elmin. But he has got a higher stock price because he's bought out Trappin. So it looks like a direct competition between those two. But who's got the most cash? Elmo. Yep, Macros looks like he's going to take that. He'll have to clean that Dryad afterwards, but... good. Well, I reckon definitely you should pop over and have a look at Black Magic's stream. He's twitch.tv 11 Black Magic. He will do a far better job commentating than I could. But it definitely looks like Macros is going to clean him up, and then he'll go and clean up Dryad afterwards. So, let's have a quick look at who has won what. Fox Blazing looks like he has well in the lead. Macro, it looks like it's going to be tied then between Fox and Macros if Macros wins this game. Although, who won the last one? Phil. Oh, Philophantic took that one. So yeah, Fox Blazing and Macros 42 will be tied at 2 points each and 2 rounds to go. Although, well, we're in round 4. Who's in our round 4? Let's see. Tratin, Trapping Ving, and then Hexapus, El Capitan, and Philothantic. So that should be quite a good game. A lot of strong players in that one. And then Fox will be in a group with Dryad, Lady Volk, and Tubak. And Macros will be with Jim Bob, Ken, and Elmin. Should be quite interesting. You should have to see what happens. And there we go. Macros cleaned up Elmin and is making good progress against Dryad. So pretty sure that's going to be a win over to Macros. Yep, a win for Macros, I think. Yeah. Macros has got 40% of the cash needed to take Dryad. So, barring some catastrophe, another point for Macros. Let's have a quick look at charts and graphs for our game. Fox Blazing, $1 million off his off-worlds. That's fantastic. The only person who really came close was Lady Volk, who made $250,000 off food. El Capitan and Jim Bob, well, El Capitan made 185k off steel, and Jim Bob made 100k off chemicals. Yeah, those off-worlds definitely doing it for Fox. And of course, the dividend revenue was very generous to him as well. So that was good. Yep, into round 4 momentarily, I'm sure. And there we go, Macros cleans up in Black Magic's round. Excellent. So, we'll be having Tratpingving, Hexapus, El Capitan, and Philothantic. I expect to see Hexapus and Philothantic really going head to head for this game. I think is pretty strong players, so there'll be 2 to keep an eye on, I think. And Group B, Crucial Tournament. He needs to let us spell. Good old Yarant. Jolly good.
Alright, I'm here.
Hello. I've been filling the best I can.
I appreciate that.
It was very poor filling, I must admit. Anyway,
Oh, well.
we got Tratpingving, Hexapus, El Capitan, and Philothantic in this group. So I expect Philothantic and Hexapus to be doing well, I think, in this game.
Yeah, Hexapus always someone to be watching out for. I mean, El Capitan, he's put up a decent performance thus far. Just last game, Fox Blazing was the one who was able to get it done more effectively.
Very true. But we got Macros 42 and Fox Blazing leading the tournament now with 2 points apiece.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and Philothantic was the other one who managed to pick up a win last round. So we still have 2 people up in first place, and then 5 people all tied for that number 2 spot. So
Yeah, it's going to be tiebreakers to make the top round 5, I think, to be in our group.
Yep.
But I definitely expect to see Fox, Macros, and then who knows?
and who knows? Yeah, I mean those 2 are pretty much locked in it, guaranteed. No way. I mean, I guess tiebreakers, if all 3 points go to other players, there is a theoretical possibility that in particular Macros, I guess, could get knocked out of the top 4. But they would, all 3 wins would have to go to somebody who has 1 point exactly right now.
That's it. But Fox is guaranteed because I think his finishing times have been so amazingly good.
Yeah, they're just so absurd that it would take something absolutely ridiculous to knock Fox out of it. I mean, a Soul 7 that was barely, and a Soul 9 that was just barely there, right?
Yeah,
Those are insanely fast wins.
they are.
Those are the 2 fastest wins we have so far, just to point that out.
Yeah, I mean, even good players would struggle to knock out Soul 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was very good work.
It's obviously a strong win there. Strong. I still have to go back and watch that game. I haven't gotten to see it yet.
No.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for. Who are we waiting for? El Capitan.
El Capitan. Alright, that's fine. Ugh. see if I can check, see if he's still online in just a moment here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still around.
I mean, I imagine he is. It's just, maybe he got it. You never know. So, I like to have information. I don't like not having information. Okay. Ugh. I'm still tired. I don't know why I'm tired.
Yeah, it's quite late, isn't it? Well, it's quite early actually for you.
Yeah, it's quite early. I mean, it's still. I guess it's the middle afternoon, right? We just never operate well for that. Okay, good. El Capitan. You found us.
Excellent. And he got
Now we're
in.
just waiting for everybody to get ready. And we'll be starting round number
4.
4. Oh man. So it's really Hexapus and El Capitan, and I guess Philithanic that we're watching for this round.
Yeah, I think Philothantic and Hexapus will lead the group. I think. Well, lead the game. I think.
Right. But all 3 of them have picked up wins, so pretty much if any of them get this, I believe they've secured themselves a spot in the next round, effectively, because of how we've got our players distributed through our different rounds.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think that's right.
they're all readied up. We'll go ahead and get on into this round number 4.
Excellent.
Okay, hello everyone and welcome to round number 4 of our new player tournament. This time around we've got Hexapus, El Capitan, Philithanic, and Trat Ping Vin. I have legitimately no idea how to say that name. Kind of leaning toward Trat. I don't know. And of course Morgan, once again, joining us.
Hello. I think the most notable thing about this map is the double geotherm up in the north eastern corner.
I would list that as the second most notable thing about this map, especially because it's dumped way into the northeastern corner there. What I'm staring at is this high carbon price, 2 different locations that have a reasonable amount of carbon, combined with $160 chemicals and 5 laboratories at the colony. So I see that, and I am immediately staring down carbon and going scavenger. No question in my mind that I am going to force that to work this game, and nobody has done it, and now I'm done. I'm out.
They've missed
We're done
it.
here. Nope, don't care. Everybody has made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to just say that outright. Everybody has messed up this game already. So first I'm going to talk about why everybody has messed up, and then we're going to look at the actual mistakes they've made once I've dealt with that fact. So, what's going on in this game is, as Morgan and I have been kind of talking up this whole tournament, and as we do always, is that Scavenger is fast out of the gate. Scavenger can make a lot of money very, very quickly. That is even more true when there is a lot of money on the board to be made. Normally, even when chems start at 160, yeah, you want to take chems as a scavenger, but you're not really happy about it because you know they're going to fall off pretty fast, and that's annoying, and you're going to have to transition those pretty quickly. In this situation, where you can get an insane amount of carbon, you can have 6 carbon per second coming in. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Now you throw it on chems, you throw it on 2 chem refineries, you're down to 5 carbon a second. Who cares? You get chem refineries that are pulling in so much cash, and on top of that, you've got laboratories down putting additional pressure, so that chem price is going to stay steady for you. It's not going to move anywhere because you're pumping out enough chems and they're consuming enough chems that you can make money on those for such a long time. You don't have to make any transitions. You can just rocket through the first 3 upgrades so easily on the back of a start like this if you go scavenger. Alright, I'm done with my rant. We can actually get into talking about the real game now.
You're absolutely right. Big missed opportunity. I mean, El Capitani's taken to... Philothantic, sorry. Oh, that makes more sense. Ignore what I was going to say.
All right, I will. That's fine. I think I know what you're gonna say, but I'm not gonna call you out on it right now.
Yeah.
We'll do that later. Farm's coming down for El Capitan. That's not really... I mean, I'm kind of okay with it. Thing is, I would have much rather seen... I understand the farms. The farms are actually pretty cheap to get into right now because glass is reasonably cheap. And the farms are going to make you a decent profit. I'm still kind of sitting here because of this chemical situation, which cannot be understated because that resource is about to go above $200 right now. I'm really looking at reactors if I didn't get into chems right away. That way I can save up kind of a lot of fuel. I don't have to sell it down necessarily. I need to sell down a little bit to get to my upgrade, but I don't have to sell down too much. Try and leave that price reasonably high. But then make it so that it's easy for you to make chemicals because you've kept fuel in check by not consuming too much of it. Provides you an easy transition through HQ3 through HQ4 once you count power into play. And suddenly you're still sitting pretty for this entire game, and it's just driving me absolutely nuts that nobody's made chemicals yet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, fantastic price at the moment. El Capitan.
It's insane.
Why are they not... The people obviously haven't seen this geo up here. I mean, power's going to top $200 in a minute. And... Hexapus really should have taken them. I mean, he's a robot. I know he hasn't got an amazing amount of steel, but steel's cheap.
Steel's $36. Everybody has an amazing amount of steel right now.
I mean,
it's not very difficult. Oh man, I'm sitting here. We were staring at Hexapus, El Capitan, and Philip Fennec, right? Because those are the three who have actually won games so far. And meanwhile, Trad is over here like, oh no, I'd like to just have a round. Thank you very much. I have steel, and he doesn't really need steel right now, but he has steel. He has these reactors down. He's selling down a little bit more than I would like to see him do because he's auto-selling right now, and that's like knocking the fuel price down for everybody. That's unnecessary, but it's going to be okay because nobody else has even glanced at chemicals yet. And now he's got 3 solar panels. So he's just sitting in this corner like, yeah, everybody else can do whatever they want, and I'm just going to sit here and win the game. Thank you very much.
It's going to take him a while to pay his debt off. His debt is mounting
His debt
rapidly.
It's true. It's true. He really needs these solar panels to come online. This is the downside, in particular, of going for that electrolysis reactor quickly. And I think he was also first to found this game with quite a bit of debt attached.
He was
really liked that location. And so this is the risk of going for those reactors when you have all that debt. Is he's just not making money right now in any of his buildings. They're just costing him too much power. He still managed to get...
Ouch.
Oh, that hurts. That circuit overload.
He's dead.
That hurts to watch. He's dead. Yep, we're done here. Alright. Strat knocked out of it. He's got that fuel price low for everybody else, and suddenly Hexapus is who we're looking at to be the hero of the day with his chem refinery.
A single. Oh, he's got 2. And he's going into a third.
Into a third is going to make $100 per second per tile.
It's lovely.
It's just amazing. Now, carbon's price is a little bit high for this right now, I will admit. If you're a scavenger, that wouldn't have happened. Just throwing it out there. And of course, there is plenty of carbon available on these maps for these players, with 2 locations that both have strong carbon and strong adjacency, and they're guaranteed locations because there are no underground use. Well, I say that. Fine. Whatever, game. Fine, game. I get it. I'm just going to shut up.
Philothantic, though, he's spotted those geotherms now, and he's moved into both of them, which is very nice for him. If he can get that second one up, which he's getting up right now, if he can get a goon squad on maybe one of them, which he's got, that potentially, well, he's in a lot of debt, but potentially that's a game-winning situation for him. Especially if he can keep power going up for everybody.
One thing I want to point out for everybody is that when steel starts off at a pretty low price already, which it did this game, and everybody has easy access to a lot of steel, which they did this game, it's really nice to be the guy not making steel. It's a fantastic thing that you can have available to yourself. Like, Trat only just now got to 4, despite the fact that he flew out of the gate, and he's in $164,000 of debt with an interest tick on the way, and it's pretty much already nighttime, so he's in trouble. Let's just clarify that right now. And like the second place is starting to look like kind of this mix between El Capitan and Hexapus, and nobody's really gotten a secure lead because everybody started the game by making steel. If just one guy hadn't made steel and El Capitan made less steel than everybody else, they're the ones who end up in the lead.
Well, this would, if we'd had Lady Volk in this game, she would be doing amazingly well.
Be over. Be over. Those wind turbines would have already bought everybody else.
Yeah.
$350 power. It's just insane.
Pretty much. She'd have had all the steel she wants at a real cheap price. Couple of farms.
I do need to point out that El Capitan, I think, is just slowly emerging as the person who's in a fantastic position to take this. Has already, like on HQ level 3, felt comfortable enough to go ahead and get down that patent lab. In particular, picked up perpetual motion, which feels unnecessary and incorrect to me for the time being, but still okay because it blocks anybody else from getting it. And teleportation, which is way more important.
The black market is online.
Has plenty of aluminum stored up, can upgrade probably kind of at will at this point, has done a decent job collecting food, and is making enough power for the time being. Not a lot power, but enough because of the reliance on farms and things like water pumps, which consume very, very little power.
He's very well placed. But the other players, well, they should have been in a better situation. Oh, dust storm. That's not going to do any good for the solar panel people.
No, not really. But it's a whole minute away.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see where this price ends up. That said, it's not dropping near as rapidly as one might expect, purely because of these circuit overloads being used consistently this game. That's really put Trat in a bit of a hole that's going to be very difficult to climb out of. Still got plenty of cash, don't get me wrong. But this debt is going to be very, very difficult potentially as time goes on. Meanwhile, Hexapus and El Capitan have managed to get rid of all of theirs.
Yeah, Hexapus looks in a reasonably nice position.
Oh yeah. I mean, 3 solar panels and 1 wind turbine down. It's very, very strange locations on those. There's not great adjacency. That said, they're still really, really good because power is really, really expensive.
Yeah, but that double Geo from Philothantic's just going to kill. It's going to burn through the power. Power's going to be $10-15 very soon.
It's true. It's true. That will be very effective at knocking that price down. It's nice for the expansive player in particular to spot that out and make use of it, of course, with their very, very cheap geotherms relative to everybody else.
Yeah, but people need to get into chems. Somebody was in chems, was he? Yep, he is in chems. So he's going to do reasonably well out of those.
Hexapus was as well, and then switched to steel, which I have to imagine is purely because of this carbon price.
Yeah, the carbon. But even so, I mean, it's not a huge amount.
I mean, that's really expensive carbon, let's be honest, but it's not hard to knock that carbon price down, especially when you're running around with a patent lab. Like, everybody's got patent labs down already. Why does nobody have carbon scrubbing until El Capitan picked it up? He had perpetual motion first, he had teleportation first. I mean, carbon scrubbing was looking pretty important in this game. It took a long time for a player to actually get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I don't know. Carbon, it's being undervalued. There's no scavenger this game, guys. You gotta play like it.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the players were put off because it wasn't an immediate. All right, the scavengers' locations of scavenger was fantastic because of the chemical price, but you would be shipping a lot of stuff in.
For auction.
I mean, this eastern scavenger spot would have probably been the better one because you got a little aluminium there, you got your nice carbon, but it takes a lot of experience, I think, to read the board like it was.
It does. It's kind of a difficult board to read, and it really takes this change of mindset where you look at the random prices first, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah,
Which is something a lot of players don't do.
They don't. Well, even I don't. I look for spots, and then look at the prices.
Right.
And then I have to recalculate my spots because the random prices are not favourable to the spots that I like.
Yeah, that's the difficulty, right?
Yeah.
Always pays off to look at those prices first and then start formulating your opinion about what to do. That was an expensive patent lab. That was a lot more than we usually see a patent lab go for. 24,000 for that guy. That's like optimization center range all of a sudden. Patent labs I've usually see go for like somewhere between 10 and 14. That's what I find.
It's still cheap though for a patent lab.
I mean that's still just fine.
It's 10k to put one down.
Yeah. So, I mean, considering you get the extra tile, and it's getting the laboratory adjacency, it can't really be scoffed at.
No, but
Not a bad building to have picked up.
it is expensive though, I must admit. A lot of money on your debt. But then I expect he feels confident having 2 geotherms, even though power's at $5.
Well, power's gone, so everybody was probably the reason that probably ended up so expensive is everybody was kind of looking at it like, I kind of got rid of my patent lab, but that one is okay because it's got adjacency, it's an extra tile, and on top of that, you're not making money on power. So even if you were in a position to make money on power, suddenly that's no longer a factor because power's fallen off as a resource. So you're allowed to pick up that 24,000 debt, and it actually feels like debt rather than cash that you're losing out of pocket in order to pay for this patent.
Yeah, but power will be back. Always in the mid-game there's a dip, but as soon as we get some off-worlds and some other advanced buildings up, it'll start ramping back up. But chemicals, the price of chemicals, obscene.
Still really high.
Yeah.
Still really high. And I don't really understand it. I mean, all of our players are up to HQ 5 at this point. Hexapus isn't making chems. Let's see, Philithanic has 2 down. El Capitan isn't making chems. And then Trat's over here like, man, if I didn't have $150,000 of debt, I would have won this game already because I have 4 chem refineries down.
Yeah. If he'd have only gooned those solar panels, he'd have been in a far better position.
Absolutely.
But that's the rescue run, though, isn't it?
It is, and that's also the scary thing about like getting ahead by taking so much debt, especially when there is a tool like Circuit Overloads available to our players, because there is never going to be any amount of hesitation at throwing Circuit Overload at a player when power is over $200 and that player has already got a C bond rating. I mean, everybody is going to spot that and want to get in there.
Oh, if power's that high and overloads are available, and you've got 3 solar panels like that, they're going to get hit. No question.
Oh, yeah. No question. There is no chance of it not happening. And so
get it
you got to be prepared for it. Perhaps the right move this particular situation could have been something like getting down extra solar panels in a different location, force a bunch of people to attack you, because the steel mills at that point were entirely unnecessary. And so there was an opportunity for a transition there.
Optimization routine
Just
successful.
something to consider.
Oh, definitely.
Or just getting into the geotherms, because you can defend those with goon squads.
Yeah.
Market is online.
But they are expensive, though, aren't they, for a scientific player? Because you don't get the bonus or the cheaper
They are. But
geotherms.
that steel was cheap. So, always something to think about.
Yeah, and I'd rather take... I mean, those 2 double geos would have been a far better play than these 3 solar panels. I know you can rotate the solar panels later and they're by your base, but even so...
That hasn't happened.
No, well... Even this price of power, although he's paid his debt off.
He has. I think that's where a lot of his cash has gone into, is directly paying off that debt. He did it in the right order, right? He got as much stock secured as he can. Then he started working through his debt and churning through his debt. He was trying to invest as he could while he's doing that, but you can see that he's fallen from the front runner into a position of being behind because of this, where Philithanic has an off-world up, El Capitan has an off-world up, Hexapus and El Capitan are both running optimization centers. Philithanic has had this patent lab up, gotten virtual reality, lots of patents being picked up by our other players, and Trat has just been sitting here trying not to die to his own debt the whole time. If he hadn't been in that spot, he would have almost certainly been in the lead.
Oh, without a doubt, but he's come back fantastically well.
Our methods
Yes.
continue to
Through
improve.
chemicals.
And through chemicals, yes. Just, Silicon's up to $300, by the way. I feel need to note that. Especially because Hexapus, I think, has completely forgotten about the high silicon that he put a solar panel on earlier this game. And that would be a useful thing to remember about 3 weeks ago now,
The
Brian.
black market is open for business.
Yeah, he could definitely deal with having that. But he has got 2 low carbons next to his base. And he's short in silicon as well.
Yeah, those low silicons, yeah.
But
Those are useful.
I'd rather have that high one, though, as well.
Yeah, the high one would probably be useful. I mean, silicon up at 266. I don't think that's okay, it is a little artificial. Hexapus actually sitting on an insane amount of it right now.
Yeah,
He's hacking it, so that's
hacking it.
good. Still, though, I don't know if this solar panel is very necessary at the moment.
No, it's not the best use of that tile. And he's got an off-world market going up. So Hexapus has come back reasonably well.
Yeah, he's in a decent spot because of this Silicon situation in particular that nobody else has really been able to do anything about, to interact with at all. I mean, El Capitan has a Silicon tile, but it's been nuked, so it's at a trace level. Philothanic also has a Silicon tile, but it's not very much. Philothanic in particular could have looked at committing to a couple of them, given that he is an expansive player, and it's one of the things you get to do as an expansive, is fiddle about with claims.
Yeah, but he's chosen to go for the 2 off-world markets, which I like.
Oh yeah, I definitely like the off-world markets as the expansive player. They're cheap, they're easy to get down compared to any other player in the game. It works for me.
Especially with
El
the...
Capitan is committing suicide.
pretty much.
We're not surprised.
I don't know how else to describe it. When you buy into all the other players in the game, that's committing suicide, because suddenly everybody else is staring at you and sitting here going, if I buy you, I get my stock back.
Yep.
And you don't want to tempt people like that, because we were starting to develop into kind of the situation that happens in off-world trading companies sometimes if nobody gets a lead, which is everybody starts to get really cautious, everybody backs off, nobody really gets aggressive just yet, everybody just keeps trying to invest until somebody has enough money to just basically buy somebody immediately. And El Capitan's like, I'm gonna own you, and you, and you, and suddenly everybody gets mad at him. And he's in a really bad spot because everybody's staring him down, trying to acquire him, rather than going after each other, potentially.
Exactly.
Ugh. You gotta be careful when making those stock buys.
Yeah, you don't want to... Like you say, you're just putting a big target on your head.
You would not believe who caught red-handed.
Oh man, another bad thing for El Capitan is that he never got an additional claim. By the way, additional claims are up to $70,000. I just want to point that out this game.
Let this be a
That's,
lesson
I
to
think
you all.
Hexapus has gotten 90%
Screw
of
with
this.
us, and we'll screw with
That
you.
said, El Capitan never secured an additional one on the other side of his base, which is a really serious problem once you're up to the off-world market game. Because he's just got his 2 markets right next to each other. They both are spied by 1 spy from Philothanic right now. That's awful. And they can both be hit by a power surge. And that's just a terrible, terrible position to be in that you want to avoid whenever you possibly can.
Yeah, exactly.
Optimization
I
routine
think-
successful.
I don't know. Philothantic, I think, is very well placed. I like what he's doing. I mean, Hexapus is having most of the black market targeted at him.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're a robot, though, right? I mean, and on top of that, he's a robot who ended up... This is the downside to his founding location. He is crazy vulnerable to black market. It's very fortunate for him that there are no EMPs this game. You can see this power surge just landed there, because it was guaranteed to get a lot of damage done. Meanwhile, Philothanic went expansive, so you'd expect him to have to put more of his buildings next to each other, but no. He got this nice open plateau, effectively, that he's on top of. And he can just spread everything out and be very, very cautious against all these black market effects.
That's it. And his, I like the way he's hidden his off-world market in that patent lab. That's a nice little touch there. Because people aren't going to expect that to be an off-world.
Really? I would. You know why I would? Because all the patents are gone.
Yeah, but that's not immediately obvious, is it?
It's not. You do have to be paying attention to that kind of thing, and it's something that might escape your notice. It is a good move. And it looks like his other off-world market has been spotted out at this point, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hexapus going after that one that time.
Well, he's got Spy right on top of it, so...
Well, that makes sense. But I do feel like
Off-world shipment launched.
this is the kind of thing that should be suspicious to all of our players, right? A patent lab that's been operating for that long, no patents are getting picked up. There are no valuable patents to pick up. You got to be watching out for that.
Yeah, but in the heat of the moment, that's not something that's really considered, is it? Not by everybody.
It's true. Not by everybody. Very, very rare for players to actually consider that as they're playing the game. Strat seems to have a lot of
The
claims.
black market
I'm actually going to
is
check
open
this,
for business.
despite the fact that we're still in the middle of
Launch
the game.
affirmative.
This is always kind of an important detail.
Engineers have advanced
Um,
our
It's hard to figure out. So, 3 extra claims to Hexapus, 3 to Philothanic, 2 to Trat, and 1 to El Capitan. That's not counting any auctions, that is just our black market purchases.
Yeah. I reckon Philothantic's got to put his claims to good use. He's killed off the price of glass. price of glass, the price of food, which is still the off-world launch, I'm imagining. Yep, by a long, long way.
Successful off-world shipment.
Speaking of glass, Hexapus has actually set up a fantastic market for himself with it. I'm a little surprised in some ways that he is still hacking the silicon, because it's not going to be as influential usually as hacking the glass, which is a much, much higher price. That said, the argument in favor of it is the more expensive the silicon, the harder it is for any other opponent to get into this glass market that he set up. This should still be a silicon quarry, don't get me wrong. But that said, by limiting everybody else's access to silicon, what he's done is opened up that glass market to himself alone,
The black market is on
and set up a great position, despite the fact that Philothenic is the one who got to that purchase on El Capitan and is set up to make the most money off those extra off-world markets now.
Yeah, but if he was really sensible, he'd convert his reactors into glass kilns and let other people hack down glass, because somebody's surplusing silicon for him.
Silicon. Yep, I think that's Trat right now, who's operating on the hacker array.
So you just
Not operational at the moment, though.
just accept that silicon's going to get surplused and say, right, I'll move myself into glass.
It's actually a great off-world location, but unfortunately Trat has also set up his off-worlds already. Who has thinking machines? Alright, so I can
Trat.
excuse Trat for this.
Yeah, Trat's got thinking machines.
Yeah, so I can excuse him for the position on his off-world markets a little bit. A little bit. Only a very, very little bit.
He needs to rotate out of electronics back into, there we go, back into labs. Yeah,
Yeah.
those chem labs.
I mean, glass would be great too, but he just can't do that because of the silicon price.
That's it. Well,
Successful off-world shipment.
yeah.
He kind of can. I mean, it's so ridiculously valuable that yes, he can. And he doesn't know exactly what silicon's price is right now. It's a shortage.
And that's it. And you don't know which way it's going to go, do you? So,
Yeah, and maybe he's thinking that glass is artificial too. Maybe these players have not realized that this glass price is true. It should be a little more obvious now with how this is played out with this shortage, and exactly what Hexapus is doing to this price. But glass is an insanely profitable thing that none of our players feel comfortable moving into.
Hexapus.
Also, Hexapus is about to kill Philothenic, yes.
Yeah.
Your stock is being sold.
And he's going into that. How much glass? How much is that glass worth?
Optimization routines
Too
Well,
much.
successful.
Yeah, far too much. He doesn't even need to wait for the hack to finish. Just sell it down and buy out Phil.
Yeah, almost $400,000 in that glass right now.
That's obscene amount of money.
It is obscene, and he's actually hacking glass finally. I am still a little surprised he's been operating on only the double glass kiln instead of rotating some of these reactors like you had talked about earlier, because I think that would be an insanely valuable thing to do.
Yeah, I mean those
Yes.
reactors are making, well, $23 each they're making, which is nothing.
Well, I mean, now they're making nothing.
No,
Literally.
literally nothing. Saving him some money for power though, which is good.
Oh yeah, that's nice at least. But yeah, I do have to question not putting down the glass. That said, the hacker array has done so much work for Hexapus. Controlling a market, monopolizing a market is just so powerful in this game that even with other little missteps along the way, it can pretty easily
Off-world
take the
shipment
game
launched.
a lot of the time.
You'll get all
And while it hasn't been a complete monopoly, because Philothenic also has a little silicon coming in, it's just a it's a small trickle, and it's not enough to actually influence the price.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you want to use a hacker array, then that's the way you do it. You get yourself a near monopoly, and then milk it for everything that it's worth.
Alright, Hexapus grabs Philothenic. I think he's going to take this one, but I'm not actually going to call it just yet, because Trat has an obscene amount of cash. That said, I'm really concerned about his stock price, because it's not consistent.
Yeah, but Trat's got half the amount of money that he needs.
Yeah.
He
But-
needs 1.8 mil.
Yeah,
And
that's
he's
the thing.
got-
Okay, you're halfway there, and you still need $800,000 more dollars.
Yeah,
Launch affirmative. What a
best will in the world, it ain't gonna happen.
productivity quite like an electromagnetic pulse.
Yeah, this one's just Trat's not going to get it. So yeah, especially because Trat sold out of his stock, which I understand in theory. Like, okay, you need this game not to last for any period of time whatsoever. You need to wrap it up right here and now, because you are the one with the giant pile of cash and no income. So make that giant pile of cash as giant as you possibly can to finish it up, but unfortunately, it's just not going to work out, because as your opponent buys into you, it raises his own stock price.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Your pile of cash you're going to get from selling your own stock is not going to make up for his stock price increase. And you're going to be stuck in a position where he is just going to take you down a little bit faster.
Yeah,
As opposed to even selling out of his own stock now, making the reverse play, he's going to take this in mere moments.
because I mean, look, he's making 3,000 a second off El Capitan as a sub.
Yep.
Game over.
Already up to 1,000 from Philithenic. I mean,
That's going to be
Almost
another.
done.
If that had gone a bit longer, he'd have had 3k a second off. Well,
Yeah.
around 3k
I mean-
a second off Phil.
that was just getting disgusting toward the end.
Yeah.
Great play by Hexapus to clean that one up. I would say that through most of the game, it looked like he was outthinking a lot of other players. I think he was really harmed by his found, and that it was really easy to attack him with these power surges in particular.
hmm
That said, it still wasn't enough to stop him from taking the game, and pretty handily at that. So it
Yeah.
was really well done, controlling that Silicon and moving forward to win the game. That was just solid with how he handled that.
But I think every player here had an opportunity to win.
Yeah, to not screw up when they
Yeah.
founded. Yeah, that was an option that none of them took.
Even disregarding the chemicals, everybody had an edge that they could have, if they'd have played it right, they could
That's
have
true.
profited from. I mean, Philothantic, for example, had his lovely double geo. If he'd have worked the power market a bit better, maybe he'd have had a different outcome. El Capitan, well, he did reasonably well. Average, I suppose.
But he got aggressive against everybody and just got everybody to turn.
Yeah, that's it. Faced an uphill battle. And Trat, well, if he'd have protected his poor little solar panels back on day 2 or whatever, then, or day 3, he'd have had a different outcome as well, so...
Yeah, I think you're exactly correct, that every single player had an edge they could have exploited and used against their opponent this game. If
But-
things had just gone a little differently.
Yeah, but fair play to Hexapus. You were absolutely right. His hacker array plays were spot on, really good.
And great to identify that. I mean, monopolies aren't... This is the first one we've really seen today. We even saw attempted monopolies earlier that just didn't quite have the commitment to pan out, but Hexapus, he got it done. He did what he needed to do to secure it. And on Silicon in particular, that can be extremely valuable because of Glass. Glass can go insane. Everybody wants Glass throughout the game. Everybody's going to drive that price up. If you can get that Silicon Monopoly functional, it can do fantastic things for you.
Oh, definitely. Without a doubt.
I've won a few games with that myself, so I can speak to that one directly. It's always a fun game when you get Silicon and get to play with that hacker, right?
Yeah, too right.
Oh man, I need to look at this just very quickly. Yeah, made over $450,000 or so on Silicon. That's after you count in the buying and selling. Made 300,000 or so on Glass. It's just so more on Silicon than Glass.
Yeah, well, wow. It's resource, isn't it? So,
It's just that is not a normal thing to see.
no. No, that's a tidy amount of profit for him. Real tidy.
Oh man! All right, I'm gonna get on out of that one and make the lobby for our final game. I haven't really checked the spreadsheet yet.
Let's have a look. Round 5. Fox Blaze in 1, as expected.
So solidly in first place at this point.
Yes. So he's in our group. We're just waiting the result from Group B.
So Hexapus and Macros are also going to be joining us, I believe. Assuming that it's all the top players in our group, which I think it is.
Yeah, we're going to have Hexapus, definitely. Well, not
Yeah.
definitely, but it's pretty much. I
So-
imagine it's going to be Macros.
I think it has to be Hexapus. It has to be Macros. It has to be Fox Blazing, right?
Yeah.
Because the most points anybody else can get at this point is once Fox Blazing won, anybody with 2 score was guaranteed to get into the final round.
So our next one is Oh, hold on. We need to know who is in Jim Bob
Right. So Jim Bob,
and Elman.
Macros. Let's see. They can all get in.
Jim Bob can be in. And then I think it's going to be a tiebreak between Philothantic and Tubak.
Theoretically, any of these players who are in round 4 could have gotten in, depending on tiebreaks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a tiebreak.
Because either Jim Bob takes it, and we have a bunch of players with 2 and then one with 3.
Yep.
And that fills it out. Or somebody else takes it, and we're going to have somebody with a score of 1 in the top 4.
Yeah. It will be tiebreak.
Because that
then.
would put Macros at 3, or each of the others at 1 winner.
Yeah. At the moment, I mean, Philothantic's got the tiebreak. So.
Yeah. At the moment. And I don't know how much time's left in that game. And that's going to be an important thing to check. Probably the game has gone on too long for any of these players to get in. But it's worth investigating.
It is. It's one of Blues, isn't it?
Yeah. That's going to be the Blues year-end game. So we'll just get tuned into that. I don't see Blues stream up, so we'll get year-end turned on.
Oh.
Alright, so we are too far into this game now for the tiebreak to matter. Just barely, but we just crossed that point where I think we know who our top players are going to be, unless... Let's see. Who are we looking to potentially take this game? It was Jim Bob. Is Jim Bob still in the game?
No, I don't believe he is.
No, he's not. Okay, so I think we actually know our top 4.
I think we do.
It's going to be... Top 4 are Fox Blazing, Macros, Hexapus, and Philothantic. We're going to be looking at, for sure. Once Jim Bob got eliminated at this late into the game, that's guaranteed. We don't know exactly what the details are yet because we still have to wait for the results of the game to see that. But nobody else can break into the top 4.
Doesn't look like it. But we shall see.
Yep. We'll have to see what the exact situation is, and I might just be wrong because I do that a lot. But
I think you're pretty much right.
yeah, I'm thinking so too at this point. Macros looks to be in a pretty strong position. Nobody's really close to buying him out. He has a full subsidiary with 2 off-worlds, already giving him 1,300 per second in that particular game. Palmar is looking kind of irrelevant without a huge supply of cash. And so what we're likely just going to see is Macros powering on through to purchase Elman.
I would say so. It definitely looks like it.
Yeah, and then taking the game from that point. Because the closest anybody is to buying out Macros is halfway there. Which I just do not think is going to be close enough to
No.
stop him from rolling on through.
No.
But we'll see. We'll see and make sure.
Yeah. You never know, some catastrophe could happen.
Maybe Macros loses power.
Possibly. If he drops, yeah, it's possible. We've seen it before, haven't we?
We have. In particular, the person that seems to always affect most is Gameslayer, right? For whatever reason.
Yeah.
He likes dropping from games and then getting upset about it, which is understandable, but unfortunate more than anything else.
Well, yes. He's a student. He should have put another pound in the electricity meter.
I like this, what Uran's pointing out right now. This $373 Pleasure Dome.
Wow.
When no on-world price is even above 200. I mean, that's a fantastic building to have.
It is, isn't it? And I think it's Macros as well.
Yeah, it is Macros. I think he has virtual reality to kick that up that high, given that it's only got the double adjacency.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, that's a stupidly strong building.
Yeah, and there's only one expansive in the game as well, so
Yeah, exactly.
you must have virtual reality. Yeah, he's going to clean this up reasonably quickly, I think.
Yeah, after he took down Elman, that was pretty much the guarantee. No matter what pile of cash Palmar has, it's just not going to be enough to knock down Macros, because it's no more than 30% of the current price.
No. Yeah, he's
Right.
very much outpacing him.
That means Macros, who we didn't know anything about coming into it, is going to be tied for the lead. He will be in second place on tiebreakers, for sure, because Fox had another stupid round in round 4. I mean, another Soul 7 victory. What in the world is that? Fox?
What?
Fox play. I have to
Really?
watch Fox play some games. Like, that's just what it comes down to. I have to watch Fox play some games.
Good
But
lord.
Macros will also have 3 points in second place based on tiebreakers. So strong
Wow.
games to him too.
That's a solid 7.5. That is. Wow.
Yeah, so Fox holds like the first, second, and third fastest wins so far.
He's obviously been watching Blues play.
Yeah, really. We're almost done here. Macros only needs probably about 300,000 more to clean this up, I would say.
It's going to be quick, I reckon.
Which means I imagine we'll have our spreadsheet updated for round 5 pretty fast here. But we will have to, it'll be a little bit of a longer break, unfortunately, between all the games cleaning up on our next round, because all of our initial 4 rounds, for anybody watching, are pre-seeded. And so we know who's going to be playing in each one ahead of time. This last round, of course, is based on the results of the 4 previous rounds. So it's going to take a moment to get those 12 slots all seeded out for our players and get them into the correct lobbies and such. Which is why we're sitting here in a completely empty lobby, because nobody knows who joined us.
hmm Well, I imagine Fox Blazing has won the tournament on tiebreak.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Fox Blazing is because of our tiebreakers.
No, well, yes. Macros needs to win the game.
Yeah.
Needs to win this round. Otherwise, Fox is the tournament champion.
So 3 points to Macros, 3 points to Fox. Is what we're looking at.
Yep.
They each won in round 1, 3, and 4. Yes, fair enough.
But not round 2.
Nope, not round 2. Just a weak round for both of them, apparently. We didn't see the Fox Blazing round 2 or the Macros round 2, of course.
No, we didn't.
We just got to watch them do a lot of winning for the most part.
Which is always good.
Yeah. Off-world's all around that game, man. On-world prices must have just been a little dead.
Yeah.
That entertainment revenue that Aaron's pointing out right now, 370,000.
Well, uncontested as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's more than on average sold off-world by Macros.
Mm-hmm.
Just-
Yes.
It's always a bit ridiculous when your Pleasure Dome ends up more profitable than your off-world market.
Yeah, well, it happens, doesn't it?
It does happen, especially when nobody else actually puts down that Pleasure Dome. I know it feels bad to put down a Pleasure Dome when somebody else already has one, especially if they have virtual reality, but man, it's so important. And it's even more important when they have virtual reality when you think about it, because you're cutting into their profits a lot more than they're cutting into your profits.
That's right.
So just go ahead and get it done.
Well, it's essential to get it down.
Mm-hmm.
Just for, like you say, denial, if nothing else. Which isn't a great way to look at it, but...
It's fantastic if you look at it. Just jab that knife right into your opponent. Yeah. Man, Macros and Jim Bob. It's very interesting to me looking at this balance sheet that Aaron's got pulled up, because they both founded with debt, but then didn't end up paying nearly as much in interest as the other 2 players did.
It's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it?
Wow, Macros made a ridiculous amount on... Well, he made a fair amount on oxygen, a large amount on power, a lot on carbon as well. That must have been a weird game. Like, glass is clearly his power resource there,
Mm.
but he's got, like, drips and drabs from everywhere else as well, almost.
Yeah, it'll be another game to watch, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, man. Alright, round 5 has been seeded at this point. We do have Fox, Macros, Hexapus, and Philothanic, as we were expecting, for our top 4. And they are all, in fact, in the game and readied up while I've been distracted looking at other things.
Good. Well, ready to go when you are then.
Yep, we'll go ahead and hop right in on into this. Winner of this game wins the tournament, so we'll get to know right away exactly what that situation is. I've got to go ahead and get us set to observer, of course, so at least I didn't forget. Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final round of our new player tournament. This time we've got Fox Blazing and Macros in our first and second place, both with 3 points moving in here. Hexapus in third place with 2 points, and Philithanic rounding out in our fourth place position on tiebreakers with 1 point. Man, what's with these aluminum iron tiles?
I know.
This is nuts. I mean, look at this map. Look at this. Why don't I get to play on these maps?
It's nice.
Morgan,
isn't
of
it?
course, is here commentating on this once more.
I would like either of those spots. That one that Fox Blazing took is the better one because it's got ice.
You got that spot over there, you got another spot to the west, it's got a lot of stuff. You got like this water aluminum nonsense in the middle that's going on. Even more aluminum iron kind of next to each other, a little bit south of that. It's just, our players seem to be having a
Expansive
crisis.
HQ has been found.
Just this embarrassment of riches for our players.
Expansive HQ
They have no idea what to do, so they just want all the resources, and they all drop expansive, which means somebody should drop Pleasure Dome on HQ too, but whatever.
Well, that would be an interesting one to see.
$72 right now on the Pleasure Dome, I'm just saying.
That's without adjacency.
That's without adjacency. Already. I would do it. Already up to 84, that's going up by 12 per upgrade.
If there was a nice Pleasure Dome spot.
Whatever, just
Drop it.
Just drop it. If you drop it, nobody else is going to want to drop it for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, you could go adjacent to the electronics, what are they, labs? Machine shops.
An expansive
You could.
HQ has been upgraded.
The other thing is that those machine shops are there, and so there's this interesting situation where the machine shop's pressure on electronics is kind of relevant this game, despite the fact that we don't have robotics, and it's relevant very quickly because that is consistently pushing up the price on that Pleasure Dome in a real noticeable way if you want to get it down early this game, which I think our players should, because that's already $124 without adjacency.
Yeah. The only problem is you couldn't go HQ level 2, you'd have to wait to HQ level 3 because it's still locked.
That's true. You do have to do HQ level 3 for that, and you do need to make sure to overwhelm power at that point.
Yeah. Definitely need to get a load of power down. But as everyone's expansive, it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
No, I think they'll be fine with that. Man, look at how much glass Fox Blazing has stored up. That's just a little insane to me. Like, having 100 glass stored away right now, that just feels unnecessary. 111 in particular. Maybe you take 100 so that you've got your next 2 upgrades secured, and maybe that's okay before everybody else really digs in and gets their 40 chunks going. But
Yeah, I like that. If glass is that cheap, I always buy as much as I possibly can. Because he's got his steel sorted, he's got his aluminium sorted. If he can afford to tie his money up in glass for the moment, then you got to do it. Because glass is not coming down quickly.
I guess, but I like upgrading. Upgrading feels good.
Yeah, but if you've got the glass, then you can upgrade.
You can upgrade to the next one eventually, but
No,
get to 3.
Buy
Get
it.
to 3, and then buy the glass. Get to 3 and then buy it.
buy it while it's cheap.
At least he can put down farms now if he wanted to, but he's not looking that way. Instead, we're seeing 2 carbon quarries come down, which I am not sure about. That is a lot of carbon at this stage of the
What?
game, and carbon's pretty darn cheap.
What possible purpose could he have for doing that?
I imagine that what he's doing is looking at electronics and wanting to make those. I still disagree with this play completely because it's not a Pleasure Dome. But, and of course, farms are also a fantastic option at this stage of the game. It does secure some carbon, but I'm really not excited about having that carbon at this stage of the game.
No, waste of claims. Complete waste of claims. I mean, it's not as if carbon's rare. I mean, there's carbon just up to the north of him, carbon to the west. Everybody else has gone into carbon, so let them do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, bad play.
Really confused why all of our players simultaneously decided to make this really strange play.
I
of
don't.
collecting carbon. I don't understand.
An expansive
It's-
HQ has been upgraded.
Slightly
On the other hand, the
mysterious.
$7 carbon price speaks for itself. You know,
Pirates. I hate
Well.
such filthy bandits.
Mm, yeah, no, I don't know.
should we start a pool on how valuable the Pleasure Dome is going to get before one of them throws it down?
Ooh, look at that, $200
Yeah,
without
it's
adjacency.
196 right now, specifically. Without adjacency, without virtual reality, now you've got a spot where you can get 3 down.
That'd be 30%. If you were put it in that spot next to the machine shops, plus 30% on 200, that's not a 7. That's like
Yeah, you're
270.
talking about, yeah, I mean, it's an insane amount of money off
And-
that thing. 250 to 270, and that's without virtual reality. And there's only one person at HQ4 so far.
Which, of course, is Fox Blazing, because he bought that glass up when it was cheap. Good play. Good play.
You know what else he could have done with that glass was put down farms and gotten there even faster. Just,
Yeah, that's true. But he went into the water. I see. Well, I suppose he had to take the water early. But with all this ice around, I'd have risked it and gone for the farms with no water. Let other people
That's fair.
sell. Let other people do my water needs. But
now this is just a silly tile. Somebody please take this before this fills in with something.
oh, that would be
He's got
nice, wouldn't it?
3 machine shops and 3 habitats right there.
Oh, when it comes up for auction,
Come on.
the game is insisting that somebody has
Yes.
it. Good.
Soren has now decreed and has hit a button somewhere that nobody is allowed to be this insane.
Wow, he could have saved himself 36k if they'd have only acted earlier. Whoa.
They could have.
Wow.
40, 48.
Wow.
Now these guys are realizing their mistake.
Yeah.
So,
Game is slapping him around the face. But he's still
That it is.
going to make profit. He's going to make massive profits on it, though. If he doesn't forget about it, of course. And not
Yeah,
put
if he doesn't. Details and all that.
a 6k goon squad. My god, I'd be...
An expansive
Come on,
HQ has been
Hectimus.
upgraded.
Get that pleasure dome out, you
Yeah,
foolish
just
person.
build it right now.
HQ has
Just
been
build it right
Oh,
now.
sod your stupid water pumps.
No, you're stupid. I can't handle this. It's just breaking me inside. I can't handle it.
Fox has seen the light at last.
2 pleasures.
Expansive
Do it,
HQ
Fox.
has been upgraded.
He's done
2
it as
pleasure
well.
drops, That's right. Now put down a patent lab. You just do it. Don't think about it.
What's
That's not a patent.
what's the bet in Hexapus puts down a optimization sensor?
No, it's not happening. I'm not. No.
I,
It's not happening.
I bet you. I bet you 2 to 1 he does.
the black market is online.
He's not putting
Could
down.
not refuse such a
Not putting
wonderful
down
plot of
I
land.
bet he does. Yep.
You're just trying to drive me insane. No.
No, that's what he's going to do.
You're just making me engage in this ridiculous argument. It can never happen. Never, ever, ever.
$300 a piece. Well,
Never.
that'll change. It's probably 400. He's going to get $400, I reckon, from those 2. Maybe 450 from Fox from his pleasure domes.
What, combined?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that pretty easily, actually. Especially if he manages to pick up virtual reality, as everybody else gets upgraded this game. This is an interesting tile to go for 24,000. Fox really wants that patent lab location.
Yeah. He wants virtual reality, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, you want virtual reality right away if you can pick it up. I love that the dynamics is just going to start landing. This is fantastic. You want virtual reality right away, but of course, nobody went for patent lab quickly this game. It's been a really strange game that way. Everybody's just trying to get all of their tiles collected as the expansive players, which just plays even more into Fox Blazing's situation, given that he's pulling in 300 off this pleasure dome right now.
Yeah. Immediately a
Ah.
spy.
Take that.
It is a pleasure dome? Wow. Wow. I didn't see that coming. I was sure that was going to be an optimization center.
This is what happens when you say things that you know are crazy.
Still, Fox's single pleasure dome making him $300. 270
Yeah.
profits, thank you.
Does have a small issue here.
An expansive
Which is Fox has
HQ
been
has been
operating on
upgraded.
one
Surprised,
geothermal plant his entire time.
just disappointed in
Kind
you.
of almost inexcusable in a lot of ways that
Pleasure is completed.
Fox stuck to one geotherm the whole time. Especially, we just go back and think that one of those carbon quarries could have just been another geothermal plant. I mean, come on.
It should have been, yeah.
You know, get into that power while the power was pricey. It's not like you're going to make money off of it, but at least you don't end up $150,000 in debt and have to be worried about that at this phase of the game. On top of that, Fox is in a position where taking an additional geotherm isn't really a serious option anymore, with only auctions available to add additional claims. I mean, he can't afford the amount of debt it would take to secure the geotherm tile with an auction.
No. I mean, the best he could do would be to put down solar panels, but...
You know, and even that's not looking pleasant. I mean, silicon's already 50. Fox is trying to make glass right now, doesn't have silicon coming in. I'm really concerned about that debt situation. Boom goes the patent left, but virtual reality.
How? He's
I
got
think that goon came down a
Right.
split second later. I mean, a split second.
It was close.
If I saw it correctly. It was very close.
Very, very
And now
close.
Fox is scrapped out of the iron and aluminum. I think that was actually a kind of a problem. Aluminum's
Yep.
still pretty darn valuable. More dynamite lands.
Well, he can definitely get out of his reactors, can't he? Doesn't need them anymore.
No, it doesn't need these reactors anymore. The problem is, I mean, the iron and aluminum is under the glass. I think it was just kind of a unfortunate location to put those glass things. It was kind of just a bad decision on where to make that transition.
He's
I know we're
got...
harping on Fox a lot, but I kind of look at him as the favorite to take this right now.
Oh, definitely. If he can deal with his debts,
The patent lab is constructed.
then he's
Let's
going to
get
be
our
in a
science on the black
pretty
market
fantastic position.
business.
Everybody has a patent lab, either constructing or completed at this point, so I need to actually take a look at them. Macros and Athenic are competing for carbon scrubbing. Macros has hit
The Pleasure Dome is fully
a
operational.
Fox with a slowdown strike, which is making thinking machines more difficult.
Have you seen the off-world prices?
I have not glanced at... Oh, man, come on. 46k a piece for food and oxygen? I mean,
Hmm.
alright, well...
That's why thinking machines is being slowed down.
Yeah, we've still got plenty of game left to play here. I mean, Thinking Machines is being slowed down, but I don't think anybody else is after it. Fox is on Thinking Machines. Macros and Philothanic were both looking at carbon scrubbing. Macros isn't going to get there. Hexapus, on the other hand, is going for perpetual motion of all things.
Odd choice.
Kind of works well with the geotherms, I suppose, but power's only 114. I mean, I think it's fine. But is it really what you want to prioritize, right?
No. Thinking machines,
Is online.
probably. Well, even thinking machines is... Well, that dynamite.
But maybe you know that you don't get Thinking Machines, and Hexapus definitely knows that with the spy on Fox Blazing, so that would have been the incorrect decision for him for sure, if he knew that. So I'm kind of thinking, what else do you actually want from this patent lab besides perpetual motion? Superconductor isn't going to work for him. Nanotech maybe. Nanotech would be pretty darn strong. I think that might have been the actual priority.
Yeah.
That said, everything else is only kind of
Yeah. Once the good patents go, it's not much slim pickings then, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, Fox, it should be noted, is down to less than $100,000 of debt. It's a very big deal
Yeah.
as we continue forward this game. I think these wind turbines, despite the fact that they're not very good, have done some work when power got pricey. And there's this dust storm that's here now.
They're definitely going to help him out, aren't they? Power's dropping off, so
The black
diminishing
market
returns
is
for
open
him.
business.
But
But an easy transition back into reactors once he's done with these, so I think he's going to be okay.
at least now he's going to make some money out of his carbon.
The Pleasure Dome is completed.
And suddenly Macros is kind of looking like he's fallen behind everybody else. If we can pick out one person who seems to be in kind of... seems to have fallen behind just a little bit, it does distinctly look like Macros has not secured all of the stock yet, and has about equal amounts of cash with all these other players. So that's just cash he's going to need to commit to that direction. And we haven't really seen any solid investment come out of him. We've got just an optimization center that doesn't seem to have gotten a whole lot done just yet. Just one upgrade.
He's very vulnerable, isn't he? All his good stuff's been frozen. He hasn't got enough water coming in.
The black market is online.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fox going to be the first to pull the trigger on the off-world. Almost halfway done with it.
Good choice. He needs
like it?
I like it, yeah.
I'm nervous about it. Slowdown Strike's EMP's dynamite 70k goon squads right now. Is what we're staring at.
Yeah, he's covered though. He's got thinking
He's got thinking
machines.
machines. He does have thinking machines. You're exactly right about that. So if anybody was going to pull the trigger, it's going to be Fox. But in a game this close, do you want to be the person with the party?
I would probably. I don't know.
I don't know either. I would be really nervous about taking an off-world here. I'd probably do it anyway if I were in Fox's position, but I would be terrified.
Yeah, I wouldn't be massively happy, but the thing is, what else can he do? Well, I suppose he could get into.
I mean, you've got the optimization centers. Your pleasure domes are already functioning pretty well. Hacker Ray is an option here, potentially, if you can find something to work with it. Unfortunately, Fox set up in this really bad position of not having access to silicon, and I think that's really been harmful.
Yeah, he needed access to silicon, without a doubt. But when you've got 45k launches, I mean, Oxygen now is 55k profit on it, so I think you take the short-term pain and hope the off-world's going to pull you out of trouble.
I guess. I mean, Fox has gotten all the way through 2/3 of one launch so far. I mean,
Yeah,
it's painful.
but
It's painful is what it is.
it's going to be big money though when it actually goes.
It is. Hexapus now moving into their own off-world. It is frozen, of course, by this EMP. Didn't land straight on the off-world, but it did catch it on the fringes.
I mean,
That's dangerous.
you got to
I mean,
remember.
we're getting after Fox Blazing, and they have thinking machines.
Yeah. I think now that Hexbus has got an off-world up, there's 2 targets, so. I mean, don't forget Fox is pulling in $400 a second off his pleasure domes, so.
It's true, and that's an important thing that we looked at earlier. That $400, I think, is making a really big difference as we move forward this game.
Keeping him afloat. Now he's got 2 off-worlds. I mean, he needs to buy his stock. He needs now to secure the rest of his stock because he needs to push this game long.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I think if he can get his stock, I think he has a shot. My big worry was that Hexapus would go after Fox's stock while it's so cheap right now, and it is.
oh yeah,
And this auction is
unbelievably.
not going to be good for him because it means everybody's going to be looking up and seeing what the stock situation is and staring down this $22 stock that has 2 off-worlds attached to it.
Mm-hmm. 2 dead off-worlds
2
now.
dead off-worlds, yeah.
Wow.
2 exploded off-worlds.
So,
Alright, 8,000 for Cold Fusion. That seems like an okay pickup to me. I mean, water's 40, power's 93.
Good option to have, especially now that Fox has sold out his water. Wow.
Yeah. Fox is trying to scrambling for this stock, and this is my concern.
I mean, Hexapus has got 3 optimization centers running. As-
And an off-world that
price manipulations to begin shortly.
But if he's not in,
dynamite.
why is he? Oh, he is in some glass.
Yeah, he's got a little glass going. Not a whole lot, but a little. It's just the pair. These players keep choosing interesting places to put down their off-worlds so that they can't get full triangles going with some of their valuable resources, but that's alright.
I quite like Hectopus. I think he's in a good spot. If he can get those optimization, if he can get a lot of things optimized, then he's in a reasonably good spot.
Yeah, those optimization centers are probably going to prove pretty powerful this game. I mean, chems are up at 200, which is a bit pricey, but still reasonable to be using for this optimization. And in fact, is going to go ahead and optimize chemicals as well, just to make sure he has access to those in the future.
Well, generally, I mean, chemicals should be the first upgrade, shouldn't it?
I mean, they can be, but in this particular situation, chems, despite all those patent labs, chems never got ridiculously out of hand. So I'm kind of okay with leaving it to the wayside for the time being, as long as you're picking up the right things. And Hexapus, if we look, he's got 2 food done. He's got 2 oxygen done. And I think those are fine. He's also got 2 fuel done, right? So he was really operating on those water resources those are still valuable, especially with the plan to move into the off-world market. I'm okay with it, but I do understand the argument of going after those camps quickly.
Yeah. I mean, Glass would have been another good one to get in first. But with three optimization centers running, he's reasonably well placed.
Fox has to be happy about that. Philothenic actually selling out of Fox Blazing stock. Apparently just wanted a little more cash on hand at the moment. Maybe trying to push to those off-worlds and black market uses.
Yeah. Macro's really getting hit with these AMPs, isn't he?
Market is finished and awaiting orders.
Which,
Well,
he's in one of the... he's probably our worst placed player, maybe. No, off-world, struggling.
I mean, perhaps, but he's also looking the scariest, perhaps, to some of our other players, given that what he's been doing, instead of investing in off-world markets, is developing a giant pile of cash.
Indeed, he has got a scary amount of cash on hand.
Successful.
I mean, especially selling down that steel right now, that would be a lot of money that he would have. And so players are looking at that percentage, and it started to get a little high, so that's where the EMPs are coming in from at that point. Finally, we see the off-world market drop.
Yeah, he's still got 180 on hand, which not so much anymore. Yeah, his position doesn't look nearly as good.
No. Fox has managed to kind of weather the storm at this point and has had those two off-worlds operational for quite some time. But Philothenic and Hexapus are closing that gap pretty rapidly, both of them about halfway done with their current off-world.
It's pretty much anybody's game.
This $300 steel, though, says that maybe some more of this dynamite should still be flying around.
Advanced our production.
Yep. Fox is doubling down on the steel, which is nice.
So I like this move from Philothenic in a lot of ways. Macros is looking maybe a little bit vulnerable, and as soon as Macros started making this off-world transition, what Philothenic had done earlier was open up options by selling out of Fox Blazing. This directs Fox Blazing toward Hexapus and kind of puts those two in a fight. So Macros, once he starts putting these off-worlds down, is looking vulnerable and valuable both. And so Philothenic then has opened up the opportunity to go after Macros, let the other two strong players fight it out, and try and pick off someone weak, and really pull back into this game. I really like this move from Philothenic.
Yeah, it is a good move. But Macros is buying into Fox. Now that's not going to end well.
Just trying to raise the stock price, I think. Trying to force the situation with another player. Macros can't survive on his own. He has to punish somebody else and say, help me. Otherwise, he's going to get knocked out of this game. Best way to do that is threaten the other player with their own life. Otherwise, they aren't going to pay any attention to you.
Yeah, true enough. But if
I mean, suddenly Philothenic looks scary to everybody.
yeah, well, he's been made a king now, isn't he?
Somebody's going to have to do something about it. The question is, what do you do? Power's at 90, so Circuit Overload maybe okay in the right situation, but EMP's at 110, Slowdown Strikes at 70, Dynamite at 70. Nobody's wanting to grab those anytime soon.
No, black market's not really an option. Apart from the overloads.
Pirate's still in the air. I mean, Silicon's up at 63. That's something to comment on. Water at 136 and just rising constantly. Also something to look at. These players apparently did not optimize water very quickly at all. Oh. Fox Blazing knocked on out. Hexapus.
Well, that
Be
changes
the one to get that line. That changes
a lot of things, yeah.
Man, Hexapus. I mean, we talked earlier about those optimization centers. I think this just proves their worth.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Well, with these on-wheel prices,
What a payout.
if you've
I mean, the
got...
off-world prices were good. There was no doubt about that. I mean, 60k per unit of 60k per off-world shipment of food.
That was
But
fantastic.
on-worlds were really great too. No doubt about that. And Fox Blazing, I think just the combination of opening himself up to be vulnerable by going for the off-worlds first, with not securing your own stock and having an insane amount of debt that could have, quite frankly, been relatively easily avoided by simply not taking that carbon, that's what knocked Fox Blazing out and went ahead and lost this one.
Yeah, those two carbon claims were ridiculous.
Yeah, that was entirely unnecessary and absolutely.
And he took 2 water before getting
Killer.
any kind of food down as well.
Mhm.
I
Successful
did not
off-road
like that move
shipment.
at all.
And it wasn't valuable water. That was the other part of it. It was more understandable because water was a bit dangerous this game.
Off-road
But, I mean,
shipment
we say
launched.
water was a bit dangerous this game. It's up at 150 now. It took a long time to get there. And on top of that, there is ice available with these solar condensers.
Every single one of it. He's sitting on so much ice. You know, he's expansive as well if it comes to it. You produce ice.
The engineers have advanced our production.
You absolutely have to. That is an option. So I do think that it was that HQ level 3 transition that really made it. Fox had a solid lead at that point. They could have carried it on through. They ended up having to take on too much debt in order to carry that lead because of the HQ level 3 decisions, and I think that's what ended up being killer at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think Hexapus is looking in a really nice situation. There we
Absolutely,
go.
huge amount of cash. Philothanic cleans up macros. I mean, that's a nice hit. We kind of expected it for a while now.
Yeah, but it's going to take time, isn't it, for macros to start providing
just
cash
so
as a sub.
time.
And he's
And
got.
that's the big concern, is Hexaput's already made an insane amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
The black market.
I mean, he's sitting on most of it right now in that it's kind of stored up in this aluminum and this food, holding this food price high, holding this aluminum price high. But
What a payout.
he can immediately sell so much of that and just get a whole bunch of stock bought up very easily.
Yeah, he's 600k ahead, isn't he?
Yeah, and meanwhile, Philothanic has nothing, no cash, nothing on hand whatsoever.
Nope.
Not a comfortable position to be in. Transitioning into aluminum, that's just going to get sold out from under him.
Prepare for pending market
Yeah.
adjustments. Successful
Oh,
off-road
he's-
shipment.
Somebody's hacking it. Hexapus is
Yeah,
hacking
it's
it
a
as
hacker
well.
array.
Yeah.
Once again, with this hacker array, I like the hacker array. More people better learn to use this, otherwise they're just going to keep falling to it. The way that it looks like Philothanic might to Hexapus this game.
Yep. I think he's toast. He's done.
We're just done here. Nope. Out
Yeah.
of it. Done. Not going to happen. I think you're probably right. Almost for sure.
I'm
The thing that
definitely
Philothanic
right.
maybe had going was just a little extra stock in Fox Blazing. Which, 2 stock swing, that's a pretty big deal, actually. But it just seemed to take a little too long to get to macros to really make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hexapus selling out of his own stock feels quite comfortable here. Wants to push to the victory on this one.
But he's got it, isn't he?
One more stock sell will get it done.
There we go. Get GG.
Right, Hexapus. Gonna go ahead and take our final round. I don't know exactly what that means for who wins. I'm gonna assume that that means Hexapus wins because he won like that final, the final, right? Of all the top 4 players just get put in based on how they've done so far. That does mean that Hexapus ends up with a score of 3, tied with Macros and Fox Blazing, but he beat both of them, right?
But then, no, I don't know. I think Fox will take on a tiebreak.
Forget that.
All this comes down to one game at the war. You can't do that. You can't turn a league
Yeah, you
format
can.
into a
We
knockout.
do that all the time. We do that all the time.
Wow.
Not in this game, but in other events you do that all the time. Come on.
Oh, well, Noxie will decide, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I should have confirmed this ahead of time to know for sure. That would have taken effort and forethought.
But that was a very good game. Very enjoyable. Yeah, very good play from everybody there. Shame we didn't see the HQ level 2 Pleasure Dome though.
Well, I mean, you used to be able to drop the HQ2 Pleasure Dome. It's kind of sad that you can't anymore, but
Oh, how many years ago was that?
not that many. Was
It
years?
was at least a
Wasn't
year
years
ago, if not
Wasn't
longer. It was.
Wasn't.
You're living in the past, Silta.
That's not true, because I don't think the Pleasure Dome was even broken yet a year ago. Like, there was that one patch where you could drop in Pleasure Dome on HQ2, and I remember, because I did it really intentionally, and I had this one Pleasure Dome that was making something like $2,200 per second. I still lost that game, but the only thing I was trying to do was drive the Pleasure Dome's value as high as I possibly could.
It was satisfying, I'm sure.
It was satisfying for me, because I hated that building with such a burning passion. I wanted to prove that it needed to be changed.
Yeah, I think it's in a good place at the moment.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I'm gonna always have a lingering hatred for that building that will never leave.
Hmm. Yeah, I still miss the double hacker arrays and hex.
I don't. That was dumb.
That was great.
That was dumb.
Especially you could drive prices to $999 each.
No, that was dumb.
That was good.
Look, I like high prices as much as the next guy. Don't get me wrong. Double hacker race was dumb.
It was dumb, baby, but it was fun.
All right. I don't even know what to review for that game, if anything. Like, everybody made money on off-worlds except for Macros, who just built the off-worlds kind of late and made money on food instead. Fox
Yeah.
Blazing, okay, this really does kind of paint this particular picture where for all three of our other players, Fox Blazing was the primary black market target.
Yeah, massively.
I mean, that's painful. I mean, Hexapus with 11 hits against Fox, Philothanic with 7. All together, you're looking at 20 black market attacks. That is...
Ouch.
Yeah, and that's just what comes from having an obvious lead. Right?
Yes. Yeah, indeed. You're
And I
far
think a
ahead.
lot of that came post-Offworld. I mean,
Well, a lot of it was on the pleasure domes as well. A fair few
there
of
was
those
a lot
got
on the
blown.
Pleasure Domes too.
That's what you do if somebody's in the leads blatantly like that. You've got to use the black market to slow them down.
Yes, you do. And they did a good job of it. The players did a good job of using the black market to slow the leader down at this point. One just has to wonder if there was a path Fox Blazing could have taken that would have attracted a little bit less attention.
Possibly, yeah. Well, maybe just holding off on the off-worlds.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, I think.
And the 2 pleasure domes, I think.
Maybe a bit excessive as well. Because you
Yeah.
can't defend that anymore at that point, right? It has the advantage that when one gets knocked down, the other one is still going to be okay.
Yeah, but...
And still be making you money, but they are going to keep getting knocked down, for sure.
Yeah. Without a doubt. And his interest charges as well. Look, he paid 140k's worth of interest, which... Wow, that's a lot to pay off.
Yeah. Definitely painful. And that was way more interest than anybody else had in this game. Macros, interestingly enough, had almost no debt throughout most of that game.
Yeah.
Never really came into play, unfortunately. Macros, for whatever reason, just struggled to get the investments in at the same rate as our other players. Like, he was playing well, it just didn't quite keep up with everybody else, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little bit too slow to the end game. I mean, understandable. It just goes like that sometimes. But, you know, Hexapus, I think, optimizations really gave him the edge.
Yeah, he had a lot of them. I mean, Macros also had optimizations, but Hexapus got the optimizations and the off-worlds down, whereas Macros was just functioning on the optimization centers, and it clearly was not enough this game.
No. No, it wasn't.
Because, I mean, we talked about how on-world prices were great, but we also talked about how off-world prices were great, and Fox Blazing, it's worth pointing out, had no optimizations of any kind, and pretty much needed to be able to push through and get a buy quickly, and that just was not going to happen. The lead was not big enough.
Yeah, that's it. He was prevented by all the black market action. If he could have probably bought somebody out had he not attracted so much attention.
Yeah. But I still maintain that game was, like, Fox Blazing, I think, still could have won that game if everything else stayed the same and HQ level 3 was handled differently.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Those 2 carbon tiles were just ridiculous waste of time.
Yeah, effectively unforgivable.
Not
I mean-
completely. Yeah, get game losing, without a doubt. But there we go. He'll learn.
It is what it is.
Well, yeah, stupid situation.
I'm just trying to imagine a world where that was power and just go forward from there, right?
Oh, that would be so much better. Because, I mean, power was high for the majority of that game, wasn't it?
It was. It was indeed.
I mean, he'd have earned far more than those silly carbons.
All right. I think the way that we're measuring, despite the fact that Fox Blazing loses that last round, I think Fox Blazing may still get it based on the tiebreakers.
Yes. Yes, he
With
does.
3 wins for Fox, 3 wins for Hexapus, 3 wins for Macros, but Fox still with the fastest 3 wins.
Which we shall have to review those another time because they looked really fast times.
They're so fast, and one of them happened on our stream, but we didn't get to see the fastest 2, so that was sad. And we saw and we complimented Fox on being able to handle closing out a game very quickly, but we're talking about 2 days earlier than the one that we saw for the other 2 wins. So that's just nuts, and I'm gonna have to go watch those another time.
Yep.
Ugh.
Well,
That said, okay, people want me to post games on YouTube. I can do that at some point, I imagine. I'll be honest, guys, we're wrapping up here pretty quickly. Just to let people know, one of the reasons I haven't been doing so much off-world content lately is because I got hired by Stardock to do content development specifically, and so now I'm kind of like, I'm not putting Stardock stuff on my own personal YouTube channel. You know what I mean? It's just a little to me. That said, I've been doing these tournaments for literally forever, so I see it as a little different. But that's why we haven't seen so much off-world content out of me lately, because it's kind of my job to make that now, and it just feels weird having that on my personal channel.
that's understandable.
Oh man. That said, we'll probably get the tournament up at some point, even if I don't. K Morgan, are you going to post your view of the tournament on YouTube? that a plan? Maybe.
Yeah, I'll probably put the whole lot up actually.
Okay, then I'll trust you to do that for your view in particular. So even if I don't get it done, depending on what I decide about it, it will be available. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, just don't have very high expectations of my view.
I'm sure it's absolutely fine.
I'm sure it is till the last game. Well,
Alright.
But yes,
Well-
it was good. Are you going to finish your tutorial videos?
I have literally no idea. I am not sure, honestly. That's another one of those things, like, that's the kind of video that it's my job to make now.